Mother told me when I was young, we still inspire, sorry son. You won't be lonely if you fall in love over and over again and again. I'm living my life according to law of attraction. It's not extreme reaction. I never wanna die. I'm living that life with no direction. I thought you learned your lesson. Thought you learned your lesson. Over and over again and again.
Told you to walk away. That was my first and last mistake. I'm blue without your face. But what can I do? 'Cause I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost in the moment. All I want is for you to come back. Now I'm caught in the middle of life, and I need you to survive. Whoa, I need you to survive. 'Cause without you by my side, I can't survive. I need you to survive. 'Cause without you by my side, I can't survive. And this can be the end. I won't just settle for being your friend. A broken bond is not too late to mend. But what can I do? 'Cause I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost in the moment. All I want is for you to come back. Now I'm caught in the middle of life, and I need you to survive. She said, boy, I want you to walk right, so I can give you one more chance. You're only living in your damn head. Yeah.
Welcome everyone to the Meraki Major. Today's game will be the second quarterfinals of the Meraki Major, where the console side will battle it out to see who will face up against those other winners who are Repress Esports. So in Group C we have NiBBLE NGS, who won 4 out of 5 of the games, and of course versing Motion Esports R6, who won all 5 of the games in the Group B bracket. So of course, guys, I'm super excited to be here. I'm with my co-caster Kudu, who's part of Barbie Network, and I cannot wait to see what these teams have in store for us. So guys, I am Play Plays. I'm a partner streamer for Alley Dogs Gaming, an esports organization. Through ADG, I'm also one of the casters for the Siege side of things. And today I will be joined by my co-caster, the owner of Barbie Network, Kudu. Kudu, please take the floor.
Thanks so much, Pled. So, as Pled said, my name is Kudu. I am obviously from South Africa. I am the founder of a company called Viber Network, which is a professional networking platform for the esports industry. So, if you want to take your gaming seriously, then I definitely recommend checking us out. We have a great matchup today between NiBBLE NGS and Motion Esports R6. Looking at the rosters and the lineups, we've got some really high KDs here. Looking over at NiBBLE with Novax at a 1.66. And Gears on Motion Esports with a 1.44 KD. I'm sure we're going to see some great shots by these players today.
I'm looking at the percentage of headshots, like you said, over 40%. Working with controllers, that's actually really, really impressive. As you can see, this is why they are part of such a big tournament. These are players who are out here trying to make a name for themselves, trying to represent not only themselves, but their organization and their teams. But honestly, I think enough chatting around. Honestly, I can't wait to see what they bring in. Of course, we have our maps that are out here that they've chosen. And obviously, you've trained very hard to prove a point. I think turning the tides on the first map will definitely help the teams with the mental state. Of course, I really do believe that everything with the esports community is honestly mental. If you have confidence taking the first game, going to the second game, especially being your map choice, there should be no problems ahead.
For sure. So first map up, we have Cafe, which is always a great map for both the attacking and defending side. We'll see a lot of tactics and players come out. Next up, we'll see Organ. And if we aren't decided as of yet, our third map that we'll be going into is Coastline, a map kind of favorited in the South African esports community.
Actually, a very interesting choice between the two different sides. You think being on different platforms, both computer side and of course the console side, there will be quite a variation between the map choices. Of course, Cafe, like you said as well, and Coastline being a very, very hard-picked games. I mean, thinking Oregon as well being quite an interesting one. Exactly how it'll plan out. We saw quite a few interesting plays from the previous tournament, which was hosted yesterday, between the console side. I mean, going through that, I mean, they started from the bottom, the lowest basement floor, and made their way up. Compared to the PC side, where you usually expect the top level control, then, if needed, work their way down until they gain the control. So exactly how it's going to play out. I mean, our previous casters, of course, Kanye and Patchy, proved some, honestly, brought up some awesome notes. Coming to drones, it's quite difficult to, of course, hit drones in the console side of things because of the controller.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. Do you think we'll expect another Twitch meta coming out today? Is it a meta, or do you think it's all because of the new updates with the 1.5 scope and, of course, the fire rate of it?
Yeah, so I think I obviously just came over from PS4 side probably 2 or 3 years ago now onto PC side. So I'm not really 100% sure how the meta is on that PC side. We do know that Twitch has an extremely powerful weapon, and her Twitch drone is really just an added benefit to her diverse use. I think that we will probably see some very different plays coming out, especially compared to the PC side. It's great having a tournament where we have both the PC and PS4 side. We can kind of look and compare the different strats and I guess just the different tactics that these teams bring to the table. I see now we're just waiting on one more player from Motion Esports. No, from NiBBLE before we get this match going.
I think it's a perfect time as well just to thank, of course, the host being the Meraki side, once again for an opportunity for both myself and my co-caster Kudu to having that opportunity, of course, to speak over the esports community, bring it alive, and help these players not only be proud of what they do, but have the backing of the casters. And of course, we've been very new to this. We've actually never ever casted I would say a console side of things. But I think being our first time, I'm actually very keen to see what happens, and we'll definitely be in a good surprise. I mean, I don't think anything bad will happen. I think if anything, from the PC side of things, where I'm not really a player, more of a content creator, I'll definitely learn a few tricks and maybe even incorporate it.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think the esports community and especially the Rainbow Six Siege community in South Africa has really grown tenfold in the past couple of months. We're seeing a lot of tournaments coming out, which is absolutely great for our players. Hopefully, with all this coverage, this great coverage given by Meraki Gaming, I'm sure a lot of that data is going to be used to try to pick up sponsors for future tournaments. I think it's great. The viewership on here, chats. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys tuning in doesn't just help Meraki Gaming, but it's going to help our entire industry, get bigger sponsors in here, get money flowing, and really just help the South African community create that foundation for future games.
Like you said, I mean, honestly, bringing in everything that is, I mean, still being a foundation as it is, really high quality in the future, moving forward from this point. I definitely think, especially having servers, the only point is moving forward and we can do better and bigger. And I can't wait to see what happens in the future. It seems that all players are finally in from both NiBBLE and Motion. Exactly when I'm going to hop in it just yet, of course, being the first map cafe. Quite interesting. And Kudu, I don't know, should we just start it?
Yeah, it looks like the match is beginning. I'm not really sure what chat sees on their side. From the NiBBLE side, we have Dr. Vortex, Shalashaska, Fizzer, Novax, and Epsilon. From Motion Esports, we see Fluffus, Smosh, Hales, Gears, and Vibes. Moving into the banning phase, obviously, I believe Motion is on the orange team, if I'm not mistaken, Plet.
Motion is indeed on the orange side, and of course, therefore, NiBBLE being on the blue team. So here comes in our first ban. Sorry,
Other
so
way
the
around.
correction coming in. So of course, yeah, sorry, Motion is actually on the blue side, and NiBBLE therefore being on the orange. But the first ban coming in being Thatcher. We actually saw something interesting like this happening yesterday. Of course, Thatcher removing any of the defenses from, of course, the bandits and of course the Cade honestly open up opportunities for the Thermite, Habana, and of course the new heart breaches allow normal operators to actually go through and do their thing. And of course, for the second attack coming in, being a Blackbeard, quite an interesting choice, not a very common thing to see on the PC side. Of course, the shield, I think, definitely given a major advantage, especially peeking through windows and going into the building. Honestly, Kudu, what is your thought of the Blackbeard being banned?
I think the Blackbeard could be a good move. I think we spoke a little bit about earlier the headshot percentage being fairly high for these console players. We know that trying to defend the top floor there, Blackbeard could be easily used on a lot of the windows as well as to peak skylights. We see a next ban coming up being a Maestro, a very typical ban for this map. This Maestro is extremely powerful, especially with those evil eyes placed onto Heaven's side. Giving not just callouts there, but can really be annoying for the attacking team.
Going back to the Master, like you said, the whole thing behind it, as you said before, is the rate of fire of the weapons. Of course, having a big magazine that it has, pretty much the recoil isn't that difficult to control. But I mean, Ella as well being banned, quite an interesting choice, removing one of the roamers from the opportunity to go around, cause havoc, not really being the player to go in and get all the kills. If you can, as a roamer, prevent many players reaching your anchor who is on site, leaving it to a 1v1 situation rather than a 1v3 will take the game. Of course, players are getting ready. As you can see, we have a place getting a six pick from Fluffus, from Lion to, I wonder who's going to choose. Good Maverick. What an interesting choice, especially not really having the Thatcher capabilities, be able to get, open opportunities. Bandit as well. Six pick into the Bandit once again, but Fizzum actually faking it out. Quite an interesting choice. I've never actually seen a six pick faking an operator.
Yeah, I think it's fairly interesting on Motion side. I saw that Gears is going to be playing Ash with his 1.44 KD and a 35.94% headshot. I think we can see some good shots coming out there from him. Him bringing those Ash breaches. I'm not really sure where he's going to use that as of yet. I'm sure it will be used to kind of get rid of any of the utility, especially the barbed wire being brought out by the Jaeger.
Of course, being towards bar side of things, and it's quite interesting, especially bar freezer. Of course, taking top ground control, not really worrying about having top ground control from below, from reading or fireplace, making sure that once it happens, at least when the first starts, if not, rework what they do. Of course, Legion placing these traps on the floor, moving towards Sat now. Attack is quite interesting. Going back to your Ash, I think there's definitely some opportunities that they can use. Maybe not necessarily to open up soft breaches, but maybe even break deployable shields, maybe waste in, entry denials, or anything like that. Anything to give the team an opportunity to maybe use the utilities like flashbangs will be used. Of course, having an RQ from Valves will remove any of the utilities, cameras, and anything that can provide information and possibly even find sites in case they didn't.
I thought it was super interesting earlier. You brought up the fact that it's a little bit harder for console players to shoot those drones. So we could possibly see some more Twitch play. But we saw there down on the staircase, Legion taking out one of the drones, not aiming in, kind of just, I guess, hip firing the drone, making it a lot easier to take that stuff out. We see the Zofia on, I'm not sure which window she's repelling on there. Do you know, Twitch? I didn't actually see.
So
Oh,
she's
there we go.
currently repelling towards piano side. Of course, being right next to red stairs. Quite interesting. Obviously, a large room to work with. Obviously, being droned out. I mean, if she can take full control of that, Smosh is already inside with Diffuser, making her way towards Sat. Of course, having full access to red stairs and new hatch. Quite interesting. I mean, that side was not protected at all. Obviously, playing more towards objective. As you can see, removing all the entry denial systems and anything else they can find. Of course, Mirror playing close to C1 and C2, giving an opportunity. And here comes Ash breaking in from down below, opening up the mirror for the teammates, removing that defensive possession from the defending side.
Great utility being used there by the Ash, getting rid of those mirrors. With full control of Cigar Lounge, they're able now to really push up. And as I say that, Vibes falls to Novax. We saw, I'm not sure where Novax was playing at that point.
Speaking about that, Gears taking down Epsilon from down below. Pretty interesting play. Obviously, opening it down, faking the default plant, going back, opening up opportunities, playing for the kills. Spraying from Hales, giving his opportunity the time to go in, still in a 4v3 situation, bomb going down, be planted in the next 1 second. There you go, Diffuser is down. Now the attacking team must all they have to do is bar time, maybe not necessarily go for the kills. Hales taking down Fizzes, and there you go, the game is won in favor of the attackers. Hales found himself a 3k, winning him and his team the round. Ready ball play, taking down a player from red stairs, further down by the hallway, just outside the bathroom, taking down a player across Freezer where his teammate was, hearing the guy behind the mirror, giving him the information, providing the calls, and of course winning the round as a team.
Absolutely great play there by Motion Esports, taking control of Cigar Lounge. Hale's kind of sitting back while Smosh went for the plant. After Smosh got that plant off, obviously he was staring straight into the mirror when he rotated over into Freezer, the mirror taking him out. But Smosh, with those great callouts, was able for Hales to kind of flick out and push that mirror, get rid of that mirror after he got rid of the Legion on white, really just kind of cleaning it up there after a great plant. The C4 coming out by NiBBLE to try stop the defuse, or I guess the plant initially was heard by Smosh, which was obviously great to see that fake plant in the default spots rotated straight behind bar, goes for the plant a second time, straight one after the other. I don't think NiBBLE were really expecting that quick of a second plant.
I'm going into a second round. As you can see, we are definitely heading into a kitchen, cooking and prep. Defending points, honestly quite interesting. With a new update as well, allowing the bandler to reinforce what he needs to, put down his utility, allowing the mute go across the map, place down his mutes, not really worry about reinforcements just yet. And of course, throughout that way, they can of course remove any drones, finding which players they have, having his drones in a useful spot that can actually help them. And from I think we'll have honestly a really good game on our hands. I mean, of course, attackers really did well last time, get onto sites. I mean, they have a castle this time around to prevent quick access to sites, but will that be enough for them to win the round?
That castle being brought out, but then we also have that Zofia being brought out, who should be able to easily take out those castles, allow easier access for them to push through. We see the change from gears going from Ash to Capital, so likely to expect another plant here. Perhaps we'll see a smoke plant. We see they've taken full control of Bakery there. They're probably going for Bakery Wall. I'm not sure. I don't see any of them rotating to the second floor. We got Bandit tricking Bakery Wall. So it's going to be very difficult for them to open that with the Kai just slightly sitting back. They're going to have to possibly push onto the second floor to be able to get Bandit out of that position so that he can't trick. But we do see that they are trying to push through Prep Room there, probably trying to push that Bandit out of his, comfort zone. But it seems like they're kind of stuck at up second. But still a lot of time left in the round. They can kind of just sit back here, drone a little bit, get some more information before making that next push.
I mean, of course, attackers having full control of Bakery, small Bakery, watching down Red Hallway, goes all the way down past Bar, watching Brown Stairs, having quite a lot of ground control at this stage. Honestly, being limited to the castle door, which is blocked, only having that little window to jump through if they want to make play. Of course, Maverick making a hole through, allowing the defenders to actually see something through, and of course, one of the defenders did see someone. It was the Jaeger, and unfortunately, he couldn't get a shot in. He was not expecting that. Of course, the prime Twitch timing.
Good play there by the Maverick, opening up that small kill hole at the bottom, making sure that the Bandit can't Bandit trick the right Bakery wall. They get that wall open now, so now they need to try either figure out how to open the second half of the wall, or they're going to have to try push through that small funnel, which would really play towards the defender side. Droning out the close bandits on the breach there. So now that they've had that called out, we see the down go. Oh, and he finishes him off. The Jaeger, they still expected Smosh to push back, but instead he holds his breach, takes two, goes for the third, throws a C4, misses the C4. The IQ kind of pushes back. We see the firebolts coming out by the Capital.
I mean, Fizz is playing very well in the position that he is, buying his teammates time, opening up opportunities, but Gears is saying, listen, I'm still here, I'm holding aside, I'm bringing this game back. Esports isn't taking down Gears, so with the trade and Dr. Vortex taking with the game, winning the team the round. So it's quite interesting to see. I mean, I can see the play from Fizz is honestly ready gave the opportunity for his team to win the round. Bringing it back from, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, a 4v2 back to a 2v2. Unfortunately, couldn't pull in out there towards the end, but really well played. Of course, the trade's coming back in from both teams, and unfortunately, well, it's now 1-1 in the game.
So we saw that Motion kind of droned out the Bandit who was holding Breach there. They assumed that Bandit had fallen back, and they all decided to push on to Breach, the defenders, or NiBBLE, just kind of collapsing down on that attacker's push. They, Motion really just lost a lot of players there. But once again, we saw that the player, or at least in that instance, NiBBLE had a player kind of sitting far back. The castle didn't push into Breach, allowed the fight to take place, kind of sitting back. I think Motion thought that everyone had kind of, congregated around Bakery side. He peeked out of Breach thinking that he had rotated towards Red, but instead he was just sitting back all the way by Freezer.
When bringing up the six pick from the previous choice, we had, and now we have a Twitch, and on the defending side we have a Valkyrie. Of course, Valkyrie being very useful, no matter really what the map, just depending where the placement of the cameras is, bringing in the information for the team, already having a default camera studio access, now adding additional cameras, of course having the mute not too far behind and the echo there for the backup. Quite an interesting choice. I mean, for what we saw so far for the past 2 rounds, there wasn't really any roamers from the defending side. Do you think adding roamers to the situation will allow them to hold more of the ground control, not really being limited to the few rooms that they have to defend their sides?
I think it's very interesting watching Motion attack the bomb sites here. Even though NiBBLE don't currently have any roamers, I'm not sure if Motion are droning the entire building out and realizing that, but they go straight for the bomb sites. They're not really messing around here. You see, like right now, they're going straight for third floor. They're not even going to. I mean, we saw there he was going up backwards, still looking out for the jump outs from Bakery side. But it's almost like they don't really care if NiBBLE are roaming at all. They're really just going to push for that plant. The echo coming out, I'm sure we are seeing that, mostly because Motion have been going for the plant in both rounds now. So hopefully I guess they do have an IQ on their side. So if their IQ is able to spot both echo drones, they won't have to really worry about that. We've got one of those echo drones just sitting there. I'm actually not. What room was that? Piano room, I believe. Like just outside of Cigar, or I guess Cigar Lounge. But we do see that once again, they take full control of Cigar Lounge really early in the round. Absolutely no pushback coming from NiBBLE there.
I'm good on that same note. I mean, they do have an echo drone within there. For giving out information, no one operators that they have chosen if the default cameras or not. Already taking a bit of, here comes Mute with the Nitrosol in hand, just missing the player, misjudged if he was on the window or up behind the little bar. Unfortunately, Sophia does live another day. The Mute is one Nitrosol down, can't really do much from down below. Already taking up a Pulse's role. Quite interesting. Now from Cigar Lounge, we get a Thermite breaching in towards Freezer, and it's quite interesting. The player prone down, he doesn't know where the shots are taken from. Did low down Smash by about 20 HP. And like you said, coming up white stairs, have pretty much full access to the whole upper floor. Moving towards it from Cigar side. Quite interesting. I mean, still holding stuff pretty well. We have a player towards C1 and of course C3. From there, they're holding together. We have a guy on white stairs, preventing access from the lower floors, actually limiting the attacking team to certain rooms and hopefully to streamline them. Through that, Smosh takes down Novix, Epsilon takes down Fluffles, and of course, Charlotte is taking down Vibes, leaving it in a 3v4 situation, with Thermite being down still. Never mind, make that a 2v4 in favor of the defenders.
You see, we were talking a little bit earlier about the rotates and, I guess, flankings. But we see Fizzer was rotating up red stairs there behind the attackers. Mute being super aggressive onto the Sophia there, easily taking her out, sitting in bathroom. We have a 1v4 here. Gears left alone against them all, sitting in a very similar position as he was in round one. Peeks onto Heaven, gets taken out by Epsilon, who rotated onto the balcony there.
Really well playing from, of course, Heaven. Taking on the opportunity to see through the freezer, see onto side, see to new hatch, of course, balcony. And from that, they actually took the round in a 1v2. And I'm actually quite interested to see. So they actually hold down the side pretty well, streamlining the attackers into spots that they were comfortable holding. And of course, use their utilities in a way that they knew to be beneficial. And now we're choosing our operators once again. Pretty much the same setup that we have an RQ to take down any cameras. But the 6 pick now, I think, could really be the deciding factor for, of course, the attacking team, which is not really far behind to make the game once again even.
I thought, I think, NiBBLE did a great spot there. Going up to third floor once again, they kind of knew how Motion were going to come at them. They knew that they wanted to take over Cigar Lounge, so they kind of just gave Cigar Lounge to them. We did see that pre-placed C4 by the Mute down below, missing onto the Cigar Lounge window. But, they kind of just let them take out Cigar Lounge. They allowed their Valkyrie to rotate top staircase, kind of put more pressure onto the attacking team. The attacking team forced them to push onto bar. And with the lineup they had, they really just kind of picked off the attacking team, one by one. They assumed that they were going to use the exact same strats as they did in round one. So, good adaptation by NiBBLE NGS there. We saw some great shots by Epsilon coming out. I believe he's sitting at the top of the leaderboard, or at least MVP for his team right now, moving into the 4th round.
As you can see, we are going to be holding both Fireplace and, of course, reading Better Friendly. I don't even know how to word it. Friendly team kill from the Mirror, taking down Vortex, which was the Jaeger, leaving it into a 4v5. Mistakes were made, opening up the 90 hallway, long and short, to give them full clear sight. But at the way it's been going, I think they can still hold out. And hopefully, the Jaeger could have placed down his utilities and these devices early on. But of course, like we said before, taking full top ground control, going back towards New Hatch, ready in mining, clearing it out to RQ. Pretty much moving on to side quite quick, helping one another, pushing through down the red hallway, down 90, spraying down against if I'm not mistaken, the castle, being shot from above, from the Heaven, taking damage, but from there, shots being traded. And a lot of things are going back and forth, but really the ground control from both sides is pretty impressive. Still holding stuff pretty well, getting information needed for the teams, and from there I think we'll see what happens.
So we actually see a lot of roamers on top floor now, but we also see the Jackal kind of looking for that castle up above. We're going to see the first ping come out, realizes that he's closer than he thought. Mute's kind of just pushing straight in onto the Jackal, falling to the Jackal. Jackal not really taking much of a health damage there. That's a huge victory for Motion Esports. They're taking over the 3rd floor. We're going to see the fuses coming out. Absolutely brilliant gameplay by Motion Esports, just taking control of above. Really, we see Castle sitting on just below, probably about 20 health now. 3v5 coming out. We see the C4 going out, taking out, I guess, one of the Motion Esports players, the IQ Smash Falls.
I'm taking down the RQ, of course, being very beneficial, seeing which players are still on side, where the devices are. But then now just so coming across from the defending side, taking out, making the game more even, more, major advantage. Of course, Fizz not too far behind, taking down Vibes. Of course, top ground control is taken through. Nitrocel's hopefully trying to eliminate people from above, but of course, still having a fuse and a Jackal there to find footprints. And as you can see, we have Sophia with the gun in hand, looking for players through the opportunities that the teammates breach and open up the top ground.
Fizza had some incredible shots there to take out Vibes. Absolutely monstrous shots. As soon as Vibes kind of pushed that door, the mirror vector kind of just tearing into him. We kind of just see a little bit of a lag here as Fizza takes out Hales. I believe we're still playing above. The Fuse kind of using the mirror there to kind of cover Gears as Gears goes for the plants. Gears hears someone pushing door. They can both hear. 10 seconds remaining. They're either going to have to go for the plants or go for the kills. Gears pushes out, takes out the mirror. Now going for final plant. He gets that plant off. Plant gets taken out, and time runs out. The defenders won that round. Absolutely great play there by NiBBLE. Taking out that planter, sitting back, allowing the clock to run out, and taking the victory.
Going back what you said, it's not always about getting the kills and winning a round, but playing off the clock. I mean, you do have a set amount of time to get onto side, get down to the fuse, and then of course defend it. But as you can see, they played it really well, prevent access to it. The defenders held well, making use of the mirror, of course playing off one another. Yes, being pretty much sandwiched onto side, but they made the situation work. Of course, working underneath the pressure they had to put underneath, and of course adapting to the situation. That's what makes these pro players very different to what you call your typical casual or even competitive players. These are the players that really stand out from the normal competition and really put a name out there for themselves.
Yeah, it's I could definitely agree with that. Players. I think these players are really kind of showing off their skills here, showing off especially their mechanical skills. I think the shots that we've seen, we've kind of seen why these players have such high headshot percentages. Absolutely good gun control. We see they're gonna now go straight back down to Kitchen, probably their best defense that they've had so far, at least the one that they were able to take. I would say the most comfortably. They're in a 3-1 lead right now. We'll see if Motion Esports is able to react to this domination from the defenders' side right now. I'm sure once we see the switch and we see NiBBLE going onto the attacking side, we'll see a very different gameplay here.
Going back to pretty much a similar setup that we had previously within Kitchen and of course Prep. We're having this time, of course, having a Cade and a Bandit. Will they be able to bandit trick and be able to waste the Thermite, prevent the Thermite from actually accessing the room like they did before? Of course, the Cade will be very beneficial against the Maverick because you can't always get into the difficult to read spots that the Cade does provide. Of course, ready in Bakery, both the Ash and the fellow, if I'm not mistaken, the Maverick. Moving on to side now, preventing, honestly, putting those castle dolls down to waste because of the edge breach charges do, of course, break them. And unfortunately, the ADS systems, while the Jaeger cannot obviously defend it through the current possessions, so they will be able to open up the situations.
It's very interesting to see. We've seen almost every single round. Motion pushes in extremely quickly to take control of whatever they need. We see Hales there watching for the red rotate. I do believe, we spoke a little bit earlier about, NiBBLE not really having any, players outside of the bomb sites. But now we see that we have one of their players roaming on the second floor and Dr. Vortex playing back of Frieza. We see the Yings coming out to push into Kitchen. And as I say that, Fizza falls to Gears, who just push straight through Kitchen Prep.
Like I said, Gears pushing through, taking down Fizza as Ash, of course, Epsilon playing off red stairs, takes down Smosh, taking full control of the so-called defender, watching the flank. He does miss one underneath the table, which was a Sophia, which been sitting there for quite a while. Hales takes him down, leads him back into a 3v4 situation. Flashbang's going down, Katie's blind, Katie's taken down by Charlotte, and now we're in a 3v3 situation. Shots going down, Kate is currently down. Unfortunately, teammates still rotating around. Jaeger playing off red stairs, has the information to him. Gears takes down Nova, which was the Cade who finally bled out.
We see Fluffs going down with the plant as Dr. Vortex loses most his health, but ends up taking out Hales in kitchen, pushes red stairs, falls, just being watched straight onto the bakery there. Fluff is the last person alive with, I guess we've got Chalaska now looking for that thermite who's pushed outside, I believe, who has also thrown a drone to be able to see the diffuser. Probably just going to try hold him out once Shalaska goes for that defuse. We'll push in. We see the first defuse coming out. Fake. We see that spots him outside here with 5 seconds remaining. Is going to go for the kill, gets the kill onto the thermite, but runs out of time to defuse the bomb, and the attackers win that round. So great reaction there by Motion, kind of bringing it back up to a 2v3.
Really well played by the defending side, faking the diffuser but doing it, starting it and ending it and starting it once again back to back, almost imitating the same sound as it were doing it normally. But really well played by the attacking side, ensuring that they're playing for time. Knew the fake will come through because everyone knows pros don't always fake, but in a situation that they did, came past, peeked wide, actually peeked really wide through the breach that they had previously made. Of course, having both the Bandits and the Jaeger couldn't really do much, but the play motion by Small Bakery, watching all the way down red stairs, all the way towards bar, even watching the exit towards the VRP. Pretty interesting, really well played. Of course, having the Sophia right underneath the table in a spot that was difficult to see, playing off the teammates, getting the trades needed, and then from there moving towards sites as a single unit, going back together, grouping up and moving forward.
So that Ying working really well for Vibes in the last round. So we see the Ying being brought once again. Gears once again switching operators. I believe we've seen Gears on at least 4 different operators now during this matchup. Kind of, I'm not sure if that's just Gears can't find an operator that he feels comfortable with, or if they're just trying out different strats, almost trying to mix it up every single round towards NiBBLE coming out with very similar lineup that they've had previously. Fizzer, obviously, in the last time we were upstairs, was roaming down below, pushed up onto red. We'll see that Echo once again coming out, giving that information, especially when they take control of Cigar Lounge there, which I'm very much expecting from Motion Esports now. It seems to be their main goal or focus whenever pushing third floor. They just take that Cigar Lounge extremely quickly. We don't ever really see any pushback from NiBBLE besides that pre-placed C4 from the mute in train.
Especially holding down top floor control. Like I said, the attackers actually move to start really fast. There isn't really much to contest. But going back to Gears, playing as Sledge, trying different operators, I think being the wild card can definitely give him the advantage. Not too sure exactly who to expect. I can see we do have players who play the same guys, reusing the strats that worked before. But I think being a wild card, not really the player what to expect. Maybe choosing an operator with so many soft walls at the top floor does guarantee making use of them, only having 10 reinforcements to use to prevent it there. Nomad coming down, jump through the hatch by Red Stairs hatch, making a way towards Cigar Shop, moving towards Sat, trying to find any players. Echo sitting on top of C1. Kind of interesting. I mean, very much in the open, but knowing Cade is not too far behind. Of course, Valkyrie playing down below. Just within kitchen, pretty interesting. Of course, once again, attackers have full control of Piano Room, Cigar Lounge, holding from bottom side, White Stairs, and White Hallway.
So I guess we've seen that Motion have now realized NiBBLE really like these slow rotates, exactly as we see as the Valkyrie pushing up red here. I'm not sure if Valkyrie realizes that there is a Nomad at the top of red stairs there. We hear those Nomads coming out. So hopefully that stops the push. We see the C4 coming out from below. I believe that was mute C4. I'm not sure if that was pre-placed. But as I say, that Dr. Vortex falls shut. oh geez, I'm not even sure what's even happening anymore, who's falling to who. But we come out of that with a 4v2, with the plant going down once again by Fluff. I think that's the third plant that we've seen during this matchup. All C4s going out, and attackers take that round extremely smoothly. Once again, we saw them take Cigar Lounge extremely quickly. They just droned it out. They used the Nomads to protect themselves as they pushed on in. That push in kind of made Valkyrie have to rotate back towards White. The defenders were down 2 players at that point. Very easy for the attackers then to just kind of push in, take control, go for that plant, and then pick off all the defenders that were still trying to get back onto site.
Really well played. I mean, like I said, Echo sitting on top of C1, and of course a nade coming all the way from Cigar side, taking him out, leaving him in a 4v5 situation. Like you said, a Valkyrie beating from underneath, really try to really do some roaming that time around. But I mean, that Cigar Lounge was very much, once again, had full control towards the attack. There's no competition, no one holding it. I mean, they did have an Echo drone watching at one stage. Of course, not really doing much more but being eyes on the sky. But really well played. I mean, we have a 6-pick from Legion to Jaeger once again. Try to get a wild card, but I think they will expect a Jaeger once again. It has been a primary pick, but once again they will be trying it. Let's see. So we have 2 players this time moving towards Cigar Lounge, reinforcing it. And I think if one player can just sit there, wait for the rush coming in, because these players are playing really aggressive. Maybe not really thinking twice about what's happening this time around, because they've worked for the past, if I'm not mistaken, 3 times. Why won't it work again? No one's sat here. We have our drones in the same spots. We know it's clear. Maybe the defenders can take out these drones, maybe even leave them there, giving false security to the attackers, thinking it's clear, going back to the top floor, going through those hatches, and then from there, picking them off one by one, if anything, rotating back towards start, and reuniting as a single unit, and holding bomb, preventing that defuse going down.
So we saw in the previous rounds Motion take full control of Cigar very easily with no pushback from NiBBLE. We see the exact opposite setup come from the Motion here. Setting up on 3rd floor, we see both a Jaeger and a shield placed there just on, by the door. So hopefully the Jaeger will be able to push back. I see the Jaegers going all the way downstairs. So I believe, I'm not actually sure who's going to hold that shield. Probably Wamai. So it looks like they're going to push a lot of pushback onto Cigar Lounge. So NiBBLE's not only going to have to just fight for sight, but they're really going to have to just fight, even just to get control of Cigar, something that they allowed Motion to do every single round.
Of course, being their strat that they used to enter the building, they know how to counsel. They thought of the players, of course, reusing their strat. As you can see, we do have Wamala, like you said, sitting behind the shield, waiting for someone to hop in. Very strong defensive position. And of course, we have 3 players, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even 4, right on the roof, watching the new skylight, watching the side.
We see Hales here playing, just 2 floors down on White, looking for that rotate. I think he's playing close enough that he can easily quickly rotate up White, has the shield there to protect him from Cigar. So I'm sure if once we see Cigar Lounge fall, we'll see the Jaeger rotate back up White to hold that shield, or at least peek from White stairs. But we do see the IQ repelling on the White stairs window, but falling off. I believe now they're just going straight to top floor, trying to get control of Cigar. They haven't really figured out yet how they're going to enter the building. We see the Yings come out, and as I say that, Hales takes out the IQ, who was on White. We see that the Jackal is now very wary of the Jaeger sitting underneath that window.
Of course, a very slow push compared to Motion side. But really well played, taking control now. Found a player behind. Seabear couldn't take him down. Is taking down himself. Fluff is making the plays, open up opportunities for his team. Still in a 5v3 situation. Has a teammate not too far behind. Trying to get the trade. Once again, we have the same mirror play from the opposing team towards Freeze's side, watching down the hallways, getting those opportunities, getting those angles. Trying to see what happens. Trying to, if anything, get information. Sprays coming down from Freezer. Heavily tags Dr. Vortex, who's playing a sledge, no grenades in hands, ready through them out, try to get some player off guard, maybe even on his camps. Echo behind, C again is taken down. Rather interesting, was there previously, but I mean, Once if he's going straight down within the body, he can possibly even hard it. We have the player under new hatch. Try to spray down the guy from defender outside of start. And there you go, Gears taking down Fizzes. Now we're in a 4v1 situation. Smosh coming across, takes down last attacker, and of course winning the round.
We saw some incredible gameplay by Motion there, really just pushing the attackers back. No matter where the attackers wanted to enter, they made sure they had one or two players there covering those windows, covering those doors, pushing out, playing aggressive. I don't think that NiBBLE were really ready for such an aggressive defense there by Motion. I'm sure they expected to at least get a little bit of control of the map, but I believe the second they kind of got into the map, they really got taken out immediately. We saw one of the one of the NiBBLE players pushing straight in to go for plants, getting taken down almost immediately by the Echo that was sitting there. And then the drop straight from Skylight, obviously to take out the Echo, but then that player was immediately refragged. So really just great defense there by Motion. Hopefully we see something as smooth and tactical when they push down now into Kitchen.
When we see a 6-3 from Clash back to Jaeger, pretty intimidating character, of course, can prevent entry and even access to certain rooms by herself. But like I said, once again, we have the Echo. We have pretty much the same setup from the previous round. But I mean, this time around, we saw pretty much a very similar setup compared to NiBBLE, where they pretty much using pretty much similar strategies, if not pretty much the same setup. Of course, just adapting it to a little bit of their own things, little things they could think they could do better. And of course, here we come Castle once again being used towards kitchen side to prevent access to certain rooms, but will they be able to prevent access to small bakery, and of course bakery like they did, maybe even sit behind counter, or whatever the case is. Pretty interesting. Just do not give them so much access towards these rooms. Of course, NiBBLE playing a lot slower compared to the counterparts towards attacking. And yes, they did get Diffuser down. At least from there, they can adapt their plans and see what happens. We have Smash being Castle, going up red stairs, obviously roaming, while protecting the Echo, who is currently in freezer.
We see 10 kills already by Gears, I believe, who is the main fragger on the Motion Esports team. But we've seen some incredible support play by Vibes during this entire gameplay with 4 assists so far. But really just giving Gears the opportunity to be able to go in and frag, droning him in a lot, getting him into the right positions, the right callouts. We've seen very similar support come from Novax, who is currently playing just a little bit back, but great support play by these players. It's really good to see these players taking their roles extremely seriously, allowing their fraggers to do their job. And, if a support player isn't there to do their job, those fraggers will really struggle.
As you can see, Castle is holding the hatch above from Train. Sledge not too far behind, open up the soft wall, throwing in nades, try to catch a player off guard further back in the opposing kitchen. Rather interesting. Of course, make sure you have a very, very nice angle from the castle watching through from Train to the main entrance of Bakery. I mean, through that will obviously prevent access. If anything, find information, grenades going off, give an opportunity for the teammates to move in. If anything, use the cover of the explosion as almost like a smoke screen to push through. Then we get the castle above, heavily tagging Charla, who's playing Sledge. Very well played. They do realize where he is, returning back fires, but Dr. Vortex taking down Hales.
Now 4v4 as Fizzer has disconnected, but really the attackers losing a lot of health in that push, not realizing the castle sitting on the second floor. We see Buck sitting with almost 20 health, Sledge with 50 health. As I say that, we see the Thermite fall to Smosh. Smosh taking more of Novax's health. Novax sitting on about 20 health. The attackers really struggling on this push, with Smosh just really taking control of the attacker's push from that second floor, pushing down onto stairs. Once again, rotates back upstairs, takes out the Sledge from above. Attacker team just really falling apart here. Finally, we see the Buck rotate back upstairs to take out take out Smosh, who was obviously really just annoying the attacker's gameplay and their pushes there.
I mean, Smosh playing very smart, of course, not re-peeking the same angle that he really, of course, inflicted damage towards the player, returning back to the original spot where he got the trade. Of course, the information provided by the teammates saying that he's cool, he rotated, don't worry, move forward, he's not there anymore. But of course, Dr. Vortex not too far behind takes down Fluffles with the help of his teammates. But Sophia was down. Maybe going for the res rather than going for the frags would have been more beneficial. Of course, in Siege, it was a 4v5 situation. At least in Siege, you can do something in a 1v2 compared to some other games, some other more competitive games where it is really team-based, but really well played considering that there were a player down, still moving forward. I think they did fairly well. Of course, now the rounds being 5-3 favor of the defenders.
Yeah, I think we're seeing some incredible gameplay coming out by Motion here. We saw how aggressive they were in their attacks. They really took control of really any side of the map that they wanted extremely quickly. We're seeing a very dominant, spectacle here with them on the defense, really pushing hard, giving the attackers a lot of trouble, making sure that they have all areas covered so that no matter what way the attackers want to push, they're going to have to fight somebody. We see the sixth pick from the Jaeger to the Kavira coming out. So hopefully we're able to see some great gameplay here by Hales, who has really been just consistent throughout this matchup.
I'm looking back at the six pick. I mean, compared to earlier, it's kind of interesting how they pretty much counter-decked one another. Of course, earlier we had Maverick being the six pick. Then, of course, for the opposing team being from whatever the operator was towards the Bandits. Of course, from that situation, still being able to counter no matter what the circumstance is from now. Cali towards Gridlock, which of course will be used to counter roamers and of course provide information, even cause damage. And of course now for the defending side, using Kavera, who is a roamer. So is it a coincidence or have these sort of situations been thought out? Of course, Kavera, no matter what, of course, having a roamer throughout, just a thought of a roamer, maybe not really doing much, but just being the thought behind the attacker's minds that she could be below, behind, or even above. Just inflecting a slight hesitation. Should they push forward? Should they rather drone? Should they waste a limited amount of time that they already have to ensure that it's safe and move one floor at a time?
I think the Kavira is a very interesting six pick here. We see the Monty just staring straight at the Kavira. Kavira roaming far away from bomb sites. We see she kind of falls early in the round, I think, pushing too aggressively onto the Monty there. The Gridlock really just sitting straight behind. But as I say that, the Thermite's trying to put down a Claymore, gets taken out by the Frost that was playing all the way up on third floor. I don't think the attackers had droned out enough to realize that they were roaming up there. The Buck pushing up onto the staircase, stares straight into the barrel of the gun of Frost. Frost on an absolute mission here. Gets taken out by Gridlock as Monty tries to rotate. Gridlock sitting on about 92, or I guess 95 health. I guess the smokes are coming out. We see the Monty trying to push into a fireplace there. I'm assuming to plant. The Gridlock's kind of coming out. With only a 2v3, they're definitely going to have to try go for the plant here, with only one of them having, a gun, I guess you could say. But the smokes come out, but no one is pushing. Extremely interesting tactic, as we're seeing right here.
I mean, the Monty pushing in, obviously you try to get towards the corner to get the defuse down, shield on back to be protected from behind, and Gridlock is playing further behind, of course now, in trains, just to get the rotate from the player from above, which is Valkyrie. Unfortunately, the Monty was taken down, was now from behind, and now Novak's playing Gridlock, playing behind like he did step before, taking down to one room, but now both players are within fireplace. Gridlock with a good amount of bullets still left in the magazine. 25, 39 Gridlock's possibly trying to scare away any defenders there. If anything, try to get that silent cue to inform her if there are players not too far behind. Of course, being a softball on the right hand side, I don't think she's really worried about pre-firing, not to give her position away. Still has a drone, making use of this drone. Very smart move instead of just rushing in, try to wide peek it and hope for the best. Didn't spot out the player hiding in the corner. Now they have rotating around and realized the last one's on start. Will Novaks be able to pull this one back and win the team the round, despite being in a 4v5 situation?
Diffuser down 1v2 is going to have to go for those kills, or at least get the kill onto the Legion lying down behind the table there. Legion kind of peeks out to the right side, pushes through, as I say that, steps on a Legion and dies. Once again, we saw a really good defense coming out by Motion Esports. They're not really panicking to any of them. Unfortunately, Fizz are dropping out, so we do have a 4v5 matchup here. So NiBBLE kind of down one player in every single round henceforth.
I mean, Smosh still actually want to bring this up. Smosh has been very consistent. Yes, might not be right on top of the team, but it is a team-based game. You can't be the best player in your team if your bottom player is not pulling their weight. Always do believe you're only as good as your bottom player. And therefore, I mean, Smosh, from the previous round, holding very interesting angles, opening up opportunities, preventing axes, being a pain or even a thorn to the opposing team. Even that round, playing around as Frost, getting himself 2 kills. Yes, was taken down, but it bought some time, got some entry frags, and even through that, allowing his team to move forward. Like you said, hold start, diffuser was down, and even to tag some of the attackers from entering the building.
We saw the Monty Heap gameplay coming out in the last round as well, giving Gridlock 2 very easy kills with callouts coming from Monty. So great support play by Epsilon there, really giving Novax the chance to frag out a little bit. As we saw for the first practically half of the game, Novax was really there just to support his players. I think overall we're seeing some great gameplay. We're seeing very similar lineup coming out by Motion Esports here for their top floor hold. Sitting at match points, it's going to be a long, drag back if NiBBLE want to do this with a 4v5. Motion Esports really, I think, becoming dominant in these defense rounds, really just picking out and picking at the tactics employed here by the attackers. We see a little bit of friendly fire going onto Gears there, who's now sitting at 25 health. But shouldn't be much of a problem, seeing as the attackers are down a player.
I mean, Gears as well actually did a quick run out, trying to get a few kills off the bat, but unfortunately was heavily tagged. Possibly some friendly fire involved, but from my understanding, it was a run out. Rather unfortunate, but yes, we have had a team kill from the previous round. I think it was the second round, if I'm not mistaken, by the mirror. Of course, from there, other things, mistakes happen. But I mean, of course, once again, we're defending kitchen side, and ready. We have the thermite. Sorry, defending top floor. We have our attackers entering from the right to the bottom from our freezer. Behind bar, we have Hales playing as Jaeger. Takes down Charlo, who was playing Thermite, ready from there, preventing a hard breacher from entering sides. Being pushed by the Monty, can't really do much by the shield, unfortunately, with the door frame being there. You can't really get those wild peaks, try to catch off any parts sticking out, any soft spots. Of course, having a teammate far behind, watching both brown stairs, and if needed, to wild peak red stairs.
Extremely unfortunate for Shalashka there, falling to the Jaeger behind bar. They had droned out bar. The Monty was pushing through bar. It's almost like they had completely cleared it out, but the Jaeger was just hiding there in the corner. As I say that, Novax takes out Hales, brings it to a 4v2 once again. Stuns coming out onto top of White, as well as a Nomad.
Of course, Nomad playing wild stairs, and of course, once again, Ash playing towards Brown. We do have Legion, which has been played by Gez, watching from New Hatch balcony, and a teammate not too far behind on the opposing side. From the opposing balcony, I'm sorry, watching from C side, helping one another out. Nomad realizes one is under the New Hatch, takes down one of the defenders, which was Gears, which was already heavily tagged. Actually, friendly fire happening from Fluffers against Gears. Quite an interesting turn of events, leaving into a 3v2. Once again, 2 team kills this game alone. Now we have Ash not too far behind. Wild Peaks, unfortunately, as well, sharing some shots towards their teammates, maybe even providing cover fire towards Heaven's side.
Pushing together up into Cigar. We'll probably see some trade-offs coming. Vortex kind of flicking straight onto Smosh, playing Heaven there. Absolutely great shots coming out by Vortex. Novax pushing into Cigar Lounge, peeking into bar, 12 seconds left, pushes on into bar, doesn't know that there is I believe that's an Echo hiding there, just off Freezer. Ash moves around through Freezer, but Echo flicks onto her, the defuse kind of going, or the plant going down. The Echo just messing around there as the defuse comes down. Absolutely great match by both teams here. As we see the defenders once again, I believe Motion Esports won every single defense round on that map.
I mean, very interesting. Like you said, they did win all the defense side of things, despite the unfortunate turn of events of the team kills. But I mean, unfortunately, with the attacking side, they had to get bombed down. As soon as they pushed in together, they had 10 seconds to work with, and through that, they only had a handful amount of time to go through, get the diffuser down, and then, of course, defend it. Of course, stepped into a leisure mine. Had to waste a few seconds there alone to pull it out so they don't actually die. But really well played from both sides. So the first game was thinking about the defenders. We were being played by motion, sorry, from motion, and then winning the game 7-3, taking home the first map.
Yeah, I think we saw some great gameplay coming out by both teams there. Looking at the stats, we saw some great support coming out from Vibes over on Motion Esports with his teammate Fluff taking MVP of the map. We saw, two out of the three Motion Esports players were really frag heavy on that game, with really just one extremely hard support coming from Vibes there. Hopefully, we're able to pick Fizzer back up into this next map, which will be Organ, which will be extremely interesting to see if we see a once again Motion just taking control. Let's see if they play as aggressive as they did in that first map. Really, play. What are you kind of expecting to see on Organ here? What are you kind of hoping to see come out from both NiBBLE? What do you think they could kind of change in their game style, how they try to pick apart Motion Esports? Or do you think Motion Esports defense is just, I guess, their strats heavy on their defensive side?
I mean, I think first let's actually look at the map. Oregon is actually a very interesting map. It doesn't have as many rooms, as many floors to work with. Yes, they have a basement, but it's only 2 floors. So it's a basement, the main floor, and of course the room above. And of course there is, of course, the tower, but that's not too really hectic to worry about if you do clear it out. But of course, motion side really defending really well. Like you said, the substitute being Bobs coming in, really helping out the team, being a substitute, filling in that role that they were expecting from their previous teammates. But I mean, both sides played really well. I think Oregon will be a lot more friendly towards NiBBLE's side if they want to enter a lot slower. And I think maybe slightly more difficult towards motion. We like to really push that attack, really rush in. I mean, I think if mistakes being made, of course, it's a lot more open, a lot more angles to be held, not really limited to different sectors like I would say Cafe was. But honestly, I can't wait to see what these teams obviously thought out, what these teams have planned. Of course, being pros in their own rights, and of course playing with together one by one, having the experience behind them. Exactly what they will do, I can't really state just yet, but I mean, we saw some really good angles from both sides. Smash, of course, once again, I want to bring him up, holding up from train, watching that first all the way down towards the bakery entry door, and honestly preventing access. The roamers as well, Oregon as well, seeing how the players use their roamers. We're quite interesting to see how everything comes together, exactly how it'll come in place, only time will tell.
Yeah, I think one of the very interesting things is we know that Organ, you tend to have, at least one or two roamers. We saw in that game beforehand, though, you even normally have a lot of roamers on Cafe. We saw that NiBBLE, I don't think actually ever once had any roamers. They kind of just held down site most of the time, allowing Motion to push into them and collapse down on Motion's attacks. Which kind of played for them well in that sense. They won 3 rounds using those types of strategies. We see Motion Esports really, they started roaming pretty heavily coming towards the last 2 or 3 rounds in that previous match. I'm not sure if it's because they realized that NiBBLE wasn't droning as much, unless it was towards the bomb side. They were more just pushing with their players. So it allowed Motion to kind of take off. We saw the Jaeger taking out the Thermite there, because the Thermite pushed into bar first instead of allowing the Monty to kind of push through bar. Their drone work wasn't, at least they was able to drone him out sitting there in bar. We saw Motion really utilize Valkyrie rotating up red stairs. I think we saw that 3 times. A lot of pre-placed C4s by Motion as well, which I always enjoy pre-play C4s. I think that's probably the only way you should do C4s. They're a lot of fun, and the kills that come out of that are always exciting.
I think you really did bring up some valid points. Of course, just bringing up the stairs, the amount of stairs as well that this map offers is limited not to 3, but to 2. Of course, 1 going down, 2 going down, 2 going up. And on that same note, exactly how to play out, I think will definitely be in the favor of the, if I said the defenders, especially with the lack of roamers we have seen from some sides. We have currently have only half the players here. 4 players on one side, 4 players on the other. Still trying to figure out where the other player is, if a substitute will be made. But I think until then, I think we'll go to a short intermission, and then from there we'll see what the new strats come up and what the teams have in store for us today.
Perfect.
My father told me when I was young, don't play with fire, be careful, son. But we were flames and fell in love. We burned the cities down, down. Why you learn to listen? You won't be lonely if you fall in love over and over again and again.
I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost in the moment. All I want is for you to come back. Now I'm caught.
Going into the second game of today, of course, Motion taking the first game home, and now I'm quite interested to see exactly what will take place on the second map, which is Oregon. And of course, if we do make it to the third map, if there is a 1-1 map, very close games as expected, we do have our substitute in, Mr. Nater. We're going to call him Mr. Nater because of the first word of his name after the X. Of course, it's not Twitch TOS, so we obviously don't want the channel itself and all to have a bad name behind it. So through that, we're going to call him Nater. So please do apologize. Please be okay with us there because of the name stage. If we do say Nater, please do understand we're referring to the last player on the orange team. But I think from there, I think honestly, I can't wait to hop into see what these players are made from. Could you? I don't know if there's anything I've missed. Anything you want to add on to that?
You know, Plet, I don't think you really missed anything. I'm super excited for this matchup. We saw a great first map coming out from both teams. Their support players playing absolutely incredibly. We saw some great shots by their, I guess, fraggers. I think just overall, we saw some great gameplay. We saw some great tactics come out from both teams. I think we're in for a great second map here on Oregon.
And just like that, we're hopping straight into it. So honestly, let's just go straight to the ban phase. Let's see what the bans are, see what the teams are, and can't wait to see exactly which side we start off the game with.
I think the bans will be fairly interesting. We saw in the first gameplay ban of both Thatcher. We saw the ban of Blackbeard come out. It'll be interesting to see if we see any specific bans that kind of target any of the players that we saw kind of shining through on that first map.
I mean, it'll probably be something very similar. Of course, Oregon being a whole different meta in itself. But instead of having a Thatcher straight off the bat, we do have a Bonner, which is actually a really, really good idea. Especially having that range between the different reinforcement walls and the close angles that you can hold. Even Pixel Peek in preventing the close range that the Thatcher, that the Thermite has to get into to be able to actually break open those hard walls and possibly even the new hard breaches that are given to certain operators. I mean, as you can see, Ying as well being actually a very, very good choice of a ban. We saw this previously versus a couple of other tournaments through other esports teams. Being a very powerful operator, especially on this map. Honestly, like we saw, if I'm bringing back from Landon versus ADG, actually winning the game, bringing back the tide, especially in basement, using the Yang to their advantage, and coming now straight to the Frost through the defending side. If anybody's can jump through a window, at least on the console side, the reaction time to shoot down, waste bullets, breaking the Frost trap, instead of just jumping in and getting the frags with the slow bullets that I still have to their advantage, is a really, really smart move.
So, you know, looking at this mirror ban, I want to say that a lot of these bans that we're seeing right now were very targeted to not only just our last matchup, but specific tactics on this map. So we saw the Ying and the Frost come out by Motion Esports in the last couple of rounds there. So NiBBLE really just going straight for those specific bans, making sure that they don't have those operators to kind of use in their strats. We see the Blackbeard coming out by Novax, something that we saw a ban on the last map. So it's great to see Blackbeard being played here. Moving on into the six picking section, doesn't seem like anyone is really going to six pick. We see very standard lineups coming out here for a basement defense.
I mean, very interesting choice. Like you said, this time around, we don't have a Blackbeard ban. Was it just a coincidence, or was it part of the strat just to bait the enemy team into false belief that Blackbeard won't be played? But once again, this is where the Twitch is being played. Same as yesterday's games, the Twitch is being brought up, especially on this map. Is it for a specific purpose? Is it because they're drawing holes on a more convenient spot so the Twitch can get in and out? Is it because the cameras are more in positions where it's more hazardous towards the attacking side and more beneficial towards the defending? Only time will tell, and I can't wait to see exactly how these teams will play together. I mean, have once again Dr. Vortex having the Maverick, and of course the Thermite not too far behind, being able to, as Maverick, break the different, of course, if I said the electrifying possibilities by the Cade, and if there will eventually be a bandit, well, there will be possibilities that will be taken down.
I see Nata coming out with the sledge here. We saw a lot of vertical gameplay on our last matchup between these two teams. So I'm sure the sledge coming in to kind of open up above the defenders here and kind of give some of the attackers some of that like vertical advantage, as I want to say. That Kaid coming out probably to try and Kaid that wall, right there that opens straight onto the site.
It's very interesting. Like once again, we do have a slow push. Of course, the run out possibilities and even the nitro cells that have been discovered on this map is very hazardous towards the spawn inside. But we have a very good defensive position down below, watching towards the outside, preventing the 4 players who are holding it, especially the Cade not too far behind, ready to Cade trick it and save his Cade.
Seems like we have a very heavy push from the attackers here, moving on into Blue Bunker, kind of taking full control of Blue Bunker really quickly, which we've seen just come out a lot. The Valkyrie falling back there after losing a lot of her health, trying to hold Pillar. The drone work coming out by the attacking team. We've seen a lot of drone work being done by these teams. Their support players really helping, just get that push in a lot easier. That's why we've seen such fast push by these teams.
Now we get the attacking side being a little bit more aggressive, starting to peek a little bit wider. The Blackbird as well, not very ashamed to stick his head out as the possibility to honestly block and deflect the first 2 bullets to save him from any bad, I can say, mishaps, maybe bad decisions. And of course the ADS by Jaeger blocking any frags coming in. One player defending side, Valkyrie playing prone. They take down Dr. Vortex, and of course Gears taking down Nata, leaving the defending side in favor of in a 5v3 situation. Twitch is getting tagged. A lot of the defending side is below half HP, giving an advantage towards the attacking side. There you go. Charlotte taking down Hales and bringing the game much closer. Mr. Thermite being played by Epson, taking down Gears. Ready, well played. Trades are coming back and forth. Both teams are supporting one another, and of course, they're moving slowly closer to the sides, but not too far behind. The diffuse is being placed and being defended by the teammates.
3 Epsilon going for the plant there, gets taken down and injured. The Twitch kind of falling straight away there. We now sit with a 1v1 with Epsilon being downed, where he tried to plant diffuser. The Kaid on the other side of this bookshelf, I'm not sure if they realize that he's rotated back over into blue. He pushes back through opening. Novax thinks that he's pushed over to blue, but sees him behind bomb. They both peek. The shield coming in handy for Novax there as he takes out Fluffs, and Motion lose their first defending round, something we saw them be extremely powerful on in Cafe.
I mean, really well played by the KT. Rotate all the way across back into blue, going back towards the side, using the thermite hole that was made by the attackers to flank around. One of the attackers, of course, already being downed. From there, shooting the Blackbeard in the back, of course, missing the first few shots, but nevertheless did win back the game. Had his shots placed, got the player down, and of course, the other player being down was eliminated, and of course, taking a round in favor of the attackers. Really well played.
So I see chat here is still trying to figure out what's the issue with us saying the player's word. So the only issue is that that word is now officially banned by Twitch and cannot be used on Twitch channels. So to protect this channel and this incredible organization that has put on such an awesome event for us, we will probably not say that entire operator's name. Instead, we will just call him Nata to protect this org. And the Switch channel.
It's one of the most recent words that have been added. If I'm not mistaken, it probably happened about 2 months ago. I think anything that could be possibly offensive to anybody or any person will, of course, then be eliminated from Twitch, keeping a safe place for everyone. Of course, you have for the esports scene as well. The same rules apply. Everyone from the, of course, the viewer side of things just want to come back, sit down, enjoy the game, and the players themselves just want to represent. Don't really want to worry about such possibilities of such thing, of course, coming up. But of course, Mr. NATO has the word in there. We'd rather play the safe card and not worry too much about the possibilities of course, reading the future of this org. And of course, the tournaments in South Africa, keeping it more professional and seeing what's to come and make sure it happens again.
So we see a heavy roam once again here by Gears, who we saw roam a lot over in Cafe as well. The defenders, I think, falling twice to him as they, I think, both times forgot to kind of drone out those tight corners on him. He gets the drone and he immediately starts his rotate back down. As Sledge immediately pushes in to kind of chase that Jaeger down the staircase, the Jaeger holding the bottom of the staircase. At least they were able to kind of get into the building and take control of Big Tower. The Jaeger not falling back 100%, but instead rotates back through basement, having to really force the attackers to kind of chase him around the map, waste their time as his team sits nice and beautifully on site.
I mean, being the roamer, obviously the whole idea behind it is just to prevent access, if anything, waste time for the attackers. And of course, trying to prevent access to this attic is obviously very important. It's a very large room that you can make use of as an attack inside. And there you go, the Maverick open up opportunities, removing all the defenses, allowing the thermite to come past, opening it up for the teammates. Of course, we do have a band on the top, too far behind, watching it, trying to prevent any rush that's going to happen. Twitch is heavily tagged, but so Smash has been tagged for probably around 23 HP. And there you go, the Roma taking down the Sledge, but unfortunately does get taken down by Claymore, which was placed by Charla not too long ago.
Very, very interesting and great utility being used here by the attackers to take control of the attic area. That Maverick's utility was absolutely perfect. Open up the hole, throws a grenade in to take out the bandits, able for Thermite to kind of open that up, push that in. We saw great rotate there by the Jaeger, falling to the Claymore eventually. We see Dr. Vortex taking out Mechhead. And as I say that, the defending team pulls it back down to a 3v3 with the health kind of on the defender side.
And there's still very much a possibility that can happen. Yes, health is a very important factor in nearly every situation, but Siege is one of those games that are fairly in its own right, very realistic. One-shot headshot means an instant kill, which is honestly provides our players opportunity to, if anything, have to clutch. Blackbeard jumping through the main window behind the plane behind the bed, of course not being penetrable, has a safe spot to actually remove the Legion. From there, Warpeaker try to catch the bandit off guard, which he knows is in the room, and of course the Walmai and Smosh playing by the pool to the inch outside the trophy room. But there you go, Fluff is taken down, Charlotte, Novak's taking down Smosh, Hale's taking down Epsilon, and now we're in a 1v2 situation of the Blackbeard round the corner. Unfortunately, Tom the take down, and the defenders take round 2.
So that Jaeger really doing a great job on the roaming side of things, wasting a lot of time for the attackers, making their last push. They're kind of rushed a little bit. That last push didn't work out for them. If they had a little bit more time, perhaps the Blackbeard would have been able to pull out some beautiful shots for us. But, great gameplay by both teams there. I think we saw some, good matchup there by Motion, kind of just playing towards the clock side of things, as I think they realized that NiBBLE have, strong strats here to be able to push in and get those plants down or get those kills. So they really didn't want to, just hold site anymore. They thought that they were better off, adding in those far roamers, trying to waste their time, trying to slowly wear out the attackers before those attackers get all the way in.
I mean, like you said, between these games, I mean, they have been relatively close. Compared to last game, pretty much 1-1. One team gets a lead, one team gets the lead again, so making it fair even. But even going back to the stats, I mean, both players, I mean, each team is pretty much similar to one another. Only, okay, if you look at the overall average, there's a very slight percentage difference between the two teams. All teams have about 30% headshot rate, so pretty much 1 in 3 bullets can be a headshot. Of course, that would be the turning the tide. Some players even going over 40, which is pretty impressive considering using controller. I mean, that's a lot better, I can say personally, compared to my stats, even using mouse and keyboard. But definitely being a team-based game, it comes down how they incorporate not only their aim, but the game knowledge as well, and then working around each other, which can prove difficult. But of course, these players have been playing quite a while together, have built a relationship, have built that synergy, which makes them very different compared to a bunch of 5 random people put together, and of course, trying to make it work.
I think this is absolutely a great sport to be able to watch and see the team synergies taking place. We see the Bandit kind of sitting straight on blue wall there, ready to bandit trick once again. I think the last time we just saw them Maverick that open a little bit before opening it up completely. We see the Thermite's kind of holding his Thermite there in hand, the Maverick coming out with that same hole as he did before. Same grenades coming out by them to try to take out that bandit.
I mean, really well played. Of course, trying to ban a trick is really smart, but on the same note, it does damage that thermite ever so slightly. The whole trying to even ban a trick, and unfortunately did not work all the way. Was caught off, never knew it was going down, and there we go. 2 holes have been made by the thermite. Opportunities given to attackers more space to work with, more angles to peek, but the defenders have the deployable shields behind. Umar's holding it, of course, having a very good gun, especially over range, even close range. Give him a slight advantage. Bandit busy holding back the attack inside, once again coming from the outside.
Hales once again playing extremely aggressive, holding that breach very tight. Gears falling to Vortex, who was their main roamer. The flash is coming out. I'm sure they're about to push right now through the opening, but instead they rotate around to go for the normal plant here. Sledge covering as Hales falls to Epsilon. The Maestro pushing out and falling, and the attackers take that round extremely cleanly. They were going for the plant there. The defenders decided to collapse down on them while they were going for that plant. The shots coming out there by Epsilon, absolutely great shots, taking out the last 2 players on Motion Esports. Absolutely great shots. I believe it was Epsilon again. We saw on map 1 do a very similar styled win on round. I think it was 1 actually for NiBBLE when he took out 3 players who had tried to collapse down on his team who had just done the plant.
I mean, really, like you said, really well played by them. I mean, it's just the fact that everyone is holding different angles, having those crossfires in case one person decides to wipe pick or one person decides to rush. There'll be 2 guys facing one person, if anything, on a 2-on-2 situation, preventing that player advantage. If anything, giving them an advantage, of course, taking it around very smoothly. Some trades came in, but of course, in that situation, players dropping, giving them more access to different sites and even different parts of the room. You can't really do much by yourself. You're not too sure exactly where these players went to. But once again, I was just going to state, the players are actually choosing either top floor or right at the bottom, no in between. It's quite interesting. Yes, it's quite nice to hold the top floor because you can't, no one from the top can obviously do much. There's some top floor advantage. But of course, right at the bottom, you don't have to worry about roamers for up, down, below, being underneath you, only above. But of course, having the top floor above your, of course, objectives, where they can possibly even open up and shoot through it, will be a major problem. But I mean, so far the defenders have proved, okay, cool, we do have strats, we have had some issues. The grenades and placements from the Maverick and the Sledge, that teamwork between them, have been a problem back to back. Maybe let's try hold blue and prevent them from entering there. If anything, waste their time. They only have 3 minutes to work with. How much of the time can we waste, and can our bandit successfully bandit trick them and prevent access to one of the spots of the objective?
We see NiBBLE going for the exact same push as they have been so far. Smosh taking some shots into blue barrels. They're just trying to, push those attackers back a little bit from taking it so quickly. But it really has been interesting to see the way that NiBBLE have changed their gameplay between these 2 maps, really being able to fight straight against Motion now, who were extremely powerful on their defensive rounds. The Evil Eye falling there, but hitting a lot of those attackers, probably just trying to annoy them. But they immediately go there. We see a lot of the frags already coming out, trying to take out that bandit. Once again, we see the Jaeger's ADS doing their job, protecting the bandit there as he tries to bandit trick to make sure that wall doesn't get open. Thermite goes for the charge there. But I believe that Gears was able to stop that from opening up. So great gameplay there by Gears. That's going to be a big victory for them on that side. We see NiBBLE kind of pushing towards the other wall now. Now they're going to have to make that choice of which wall are they going to open to try and push in. Is it going to be the wall straight onto sites, or the wall that opens straight through to that little cubby before going for the default plant?
I mean, the room between Boiler and Bunker being ready traded well, nice between the defenders and attackers. Of course, now we have another defender going down, but the attacking side. But I mean, the teamwork between, we did mention between the Thermite and Sledge was honestly really well played. But now between the Bandits and of course the Jaeger preventing access, Gears taking down Epsilon, preventing one of the players from once again popping off. But of course, Dr. Vortex taking down Mech Head. from not too far behind, he sees different things on the ball. Of course, the ADS doesn't want to shoot it because they don't really have to. Already had access to the side. Of course, one of the players dropping, being the Jackal by Gears, getting himself 2 kills this round. Already preventing access to the side, have the diffuser down. Exactly what the attackers now must do. Of course, regain side, get the diffuser back. If anything, pull out, rethink what they're doing, go back in. But try to get traded back. Maverick being knocked. Maverick now being taken down fully by Gears. Bandits is currently trying to get the defuse down. And now we're in a 1v2 situation. Of course, with the Blackbeard shields, he has an advantage, but Gears probably on around 10 HP, if not less. Diffuse going down. Gears not too far behind. Trying to prevent the plant. Only 13 seconds left. Can Blackbeard make a player? And there come Gears, preventing it once again. Finding himself in the 3k that round alone. Winning the game. Of course, preventing access, taking down 2 of the attacking side by himself and having his teammate not too far behind to back him up if worse comes to worse, if he falls, if he fails.
It's a third, I think, round now that we've seen the Blackbeard being left alone, trying to have to fend for himself. Going into round 5 now, we're sitting on a 2-2 between NiBBLE and Motion Esports. We see NiBBLE kind of taking 2 attacking rounds, as we saw in the last map. They weren't able to kind of crack that Motion Esports defense. This time they were able to really pick that apart and get the job done. Looking at the lineups coming into round 5, very similar lineups to what we've been seeing so far. NiBBLE really just sticking to that exact same attackers lineup as it's been working for them. If they're able to get their strats down and execute it correctly, they're really able to pick apart everything that Motion has for them. We do see the Jaeger once again coming out. I think that was the main reason Gears was able to bandit trick the wall against Epsilon and make sure that they weren't able to get that wall open. Once that wall was not opened, I think at that point it was very difficult for NiBBLE to be able to change their strat, work around that and have to push in through a funneled area, which obviously did not work out for them in the end.
Of course, having the ADS, there was only 1 Jaeger charge placed on the wall. But I mean, if you look at the Sledge alone, he has 2 frag grenades, so does Maverick, of course, being the one who's making the holes. And if worse comes to worse, both, of course, the Blackbeard and the Thermites have flashbangs to make use of and waste those charges by the Jaeger, and therefore having, if anything, at least 1 frag grenade to break down the bandit charges or even the Cade. So really well played, I mean, amongst the players. Of course, moving together from blue, sticking together because they need those utilities if needed. And then, of course, once that wall's open, they can keep moving forward, open up the different walls which they have. Of course, they're playing in top floor now, have to worry about down below. Going towards Addict's side once again, very interesting wall played. Thermite, of course, while there with his teammate not too far behind, which is the Maverick, playing towards Addict's side, which is being defended by Hales and Wamar, who are the Jaeger. And, of course, the Wamar being played by Fluffles, who was disconnected last round. But there you go. Jaeger once again with his bandit, the great grenade by Maverick coming in. Hale's being protected by the little shelf that he's hiding behind, but ready, well played. Good placement, knowing that it is coming past. They are going to try bandit trick it once again, because this time they have 2 walls to work with, and it'll be very difficult to bandit trick it, especially if you don't have the Cade.
So we did see on the last round they weren't able to get Hales droned out correctly and they fall. So Hales ends up taking out both Dr. Vortex and Nata still behind that box. They can't seem to get him out of there as he takes a third as Charlotte falls to Hales. Gears takes out Epsilon, protects Hales, who is now down, but I believe that they're going to be able to pick him up as the last alive once again is Novax, who's still sitting outside. I'm sure he's not even sure what just happened to his team. They just got that wall open, and there Hales was sitting. Great shots once again by Hales, absolutely monster flicks. We see the Blackbeard trying to push back onto Big Tower as Gears takes him out. I believe that's a 4K that we see there from... Oh, no, sorry. A 3K from Hales and was it 2 kills from Gears?
It was indeed a 3k from Hales, 2k from Gears, but really well played. Like I said, the back-to-back teamwork. I mean, from Hales' position, of course, the thing that was hiding behind the box, the shelf, whatever it was, of course, is not penetrable. The Grey coming past could not do any damage to him. Of course, being very close to the wall, they probably thought it was safe. They couldn't really drone it out from the position unless they had a drone already pre-placed there. He held his spot. If anything, if he was taken down after that 2K, he did see two more players there, providing his teammates information where two of them are. Of course, not too sure where the Blackbeard was. I think Blackbeard was distracted by the roamer down below, which was the boss, if I'm
Hmm.
not mistaken. But really well
Yeah.
played. I said if there was down, he did have a teammate not too far behind towards the dorms themselves to help him, which actually got the trade and then still from there revived him.
So we see the first kitchen defense coming out here as Motion Esports were able to win both basement and top floor. With NiBBLE knowing this, it seems like they changed their lineup just slightly, bringing that fuse, which we did see a little bit of gameplay in our last match on Cafe. So we'll see if they're able to. I mean, bringing that fuse means that they're probably going to try take control of top floor and get those charges down onto the defenders to help move the defenders out of certain spots so that they can get everything opened up. We've got no hard breacher on NiBBLE side, which means they're not going to try go open that wall in small tower, which trying to think about which way they're planning on attacking. With no hard breacher at all, I think it's going to be a very difficult push onto the motion defense here.
Like I said as well, being kitchen, of course, no actually direct access towards side from the outside. Obviously, you have to either go through small tower, then towards dining, or from, of course, from the tower itself. Then from there, going to kitchen corridor, making their way in, or possibly even going through main entrance. I mean, of course, having seven probably reinforcements needed to hold down the kitchen itself. Some of those reinforcements being used holding dining, which is really smart, especially now that they have a fuse. I mean, not being trapped in one small room, playing with more rooms than they can, and ensuring that there is a fuse, get out of there, they don't have a castle preventing them to be stuck on sites, and a trade coming in from dorms from between Dr. Vortex and Hales, leaving in a 4v4 situation. No one player is down, but it was a big blow to the defending side as well. What do we announce is to get the trade, move back to sites, and then from there, have the player advantage, have the 5v4 going down.
So we saw the heavy roam come up from Hales there. We've seen, especially in the last round, we saw that he is able to situate himself in areas that the attackers are not expecting. And I don't actually think that Dr. Vortex expected him to be rotating onto bunkers as he was trying to get into the window there. So great trade-off coming out there by Hales. I also don't think he expected one of them to be there. As I say that, Nata falls off to Fluff. I believe Nathan was trying to open up for some vertical gameplay there. Fortunately, we see, I believe the fuse is now pushing back upstairs to try get back control. But the defenders have, upstairs really cleared. I believe they have two roamers up there.
I mean, as well, Motion Esports been a very strong team on the defending side. One of the defending side from the last game. Going into this game, of course, it's been a lot more close. Maybe this map they're a lot better on attack. But I mean, like you said, still in a 4v3 situation, still holding. We have a Jackal on top, which will catch a player off guard, which is sitting behind dorms. Currently sandwiched between, of course, the Jackal and the Blackbeard, who's by window. But of course, Fluff was playing with Sorry, I'm playing. Actually, you're playing Mama, sorry about that. Taking on the player, still holding off the Blackbeard from the main window. Getting pushed by the fuse, get some shots in, cannot connect his final shots, gets taken down by the fuse. And now from here, they have full top control as fuse, which can be very hazardous to the players underneath. But of course, the player not too far behind, Gears playing super aggressive as Bandit, getting shots in. Both sides are pretty much two shots each. Of course, Gears been on probably like around 20 HP, if that. Getting some shots in by time. It's only 5 seconds in. Might as well try to get a kill in, win the game before the time ticks off. Unfortunately, Epson is taken down. Was being pushed by two guys from the defending side. Of course, player advantage does win, but really well played from the defending side, taking down the time, ensuring that they don't all get taken down, leaving their teammates in a 1v1 situation.
We saw some absolutely incredible gameplay coming out there from Fluff, Hales, and Gears, kind of protecting that top floor from being taken. NiBBLE that entire roamers who had, massive control. I guess, Fluff had some great shots, especially coming on, after being pinged. NiBBLE knew exactly where he was. They pushed him, and he was still able to get those shots off. Unfortunately, obviously, those shots didn't work when he had to have that fight against the Fuse. Fuse left upstairs alone against two of those players. So really just great defending as we see, or great defending rounds as we've seen from Motion once again.
Once again, I just want to bring up, I mean, both sides are playing really well. Of course, I mean, definitely from both sides, definitely have their star players this round. I mean, both Gears and Hales working pretty well together, having that synergy. I mean, Gears currently on 10 kills. Pretty impressive considering it's only been 6 rounds so far. Going back to Rotty towards the basement side, holding it. It's been pretty interesting exactly what the plans were. Can we see something similar to what happened before towards Blue side? Or will we see top floor dominance? Maybe even pushing towards Freezer?
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. We've seen some great synergy between Gears and Hales. So the round before, I guess on round 5, we saw Hales with the incredible gameplay there, taking out 3 of them, and Gears cleaning it up, taking out the other 2. Then in the last round 6, we saw them once again working together to hold that top stairs push. Now we see on the attacking round, Gears playing the Ash and Hales the Sophia. So we'll see if they're kind of gonna stick together once again, because they've been playing off each other all day.
For the attacker side of things, there isn't actually a Maverick and, of course, a Sledge playing off each other with the grenades. Sorry, a Maverick and a Thermite. This time, we do have a Thermite and a Thatcher, which I think is a safer bet, especially when there's bandit tracking taking place. But it would be nice to have the alternative. Worst comes to worst, you only have 3 Thatcher charges, and you don't want to waste them. One goes down, of course, Thermite's busy placing his charge. There is a bandit not too far behind. But they're currently going down the stairs, having access, but we do have a player holding it. It's being switched, I mean, of course, while I'm holding the stairs, we have Legion not too far from start, having his Legion traps down, playing off these traps, using them as information, trying to provide his teammates what's happening around. Echo using his drone very aggressively, not really sticking into one spot, trying to get information from his team. They know 2 players are indeed in blue. I think the Bandit trick did go down, and of course, Thermite only having 1 of his charges left. Yes, Thatcher still has 2. Just speaking about Thermite, there you go, places his charges down, open up, not too far behind. Jaeger is watching at Mr. NATO. Of course, having Jaeger's gun in hand, and of course, previously had the ACOG, still does, I mean, very powerful. And now we see Fluffles being Thermite, and of course, Thatcher playing with Smosh, playing off each other, pushing into start, taking down, but Fluffles not too far behind the deployable shield, using his little gaps to his advantage. Of course, they can see him pretty easily, but it's quite difficult for the attackers to see the finer details at the range that they are playing against.
So we see the entire NiBBLE team sitting on the sides, absolutely not one of them roaming. The shield kind of falling there, immediately Vortex having to push back. We see the entire defending or attacking team is stacked up as Fluff goes down for the plant. Shalala pushes to take down the plant, but we have Dr. Vortex coming in and cleaning it up for the defenders. Absolutely great shots, takes out Hales, takes out Gears, and the round is won by NiBBLE, who really went for a straight defensive tactic there. They had absolutely no roamers. They allowed Motion to kind of push into blue, open up blue. They allowed them to go for the plants. As soon as we saw or heard the plant going down, we saw them swing wide. Both Shalalaska, wow, that's a tongue twister, and Dr. Vortex pushing straight onto the plant's default spots, swinging around, cleaning up the rest of the attacking team. Great round there by NiBBLE as their first defensive round.
As you can see on screen, the stats are currently happening, exactly where each player is setting. But of course, being a team game, if anything, getting in the information is more important than getting frags. If you have a player that has better aim and you know it, give him the opportunity, put him in the positions for him to get the frags. Not ready for him to be in, maybe get the entry frag, maybe get 1 kill, be taken down. From there, I mean, obviously, we have a pretty much a similar setup right at the top of the stairs. Right upstairs, of course, being the 3rd floor. Well, Mob placing on global shield towards the attic. Maybe possibly once again, can we see the defending side give full access towards the attic side and then just hold start? Get them stuck in, maybe bandit trick towards Ma just by trophy room. I mean, once they're in pretty much, and of course the bedroom, once they're stuck in attic, they can't really do much there. They only have 1 door to work with, and possibly if they do get the bandit charge tricked out of course, out of the game, Therma to open up some walls. Then they'll have 2 rooms to work with. If anything, let it be trophy room. Both sides are still really well defended, and then they'll have to be streamlined once again towards start.
We've seen obviously on the last round, and I believe well, there's 4 players there. Okay, Jaeger's rotating back up. Mechhead falling straight to Epsilon. He was just lying down there in the little cubby, kind of pushing out. It seems like Epsilon's going to be falling back there. A great gameplay once again coming out from NiBBLE. They're all on site once again, so they're allowing Motion to take control of the rest of the map while they just hold. We see the jump outs coming out from Nata there, taking out Smosh, the sledge, standing outside, did not expect a run out. Epsilon taking out Fluff. NiBBLE playing extremely aggressive, kind of taking back the aggressive gameplay that Motion has been putting forward to them. As I say that, Gears and Hales left against 2v5, taking out Epsilon, bringing it back down to a 2v4. We've seen Gears and Hales work together throughout this entire matchup. We should see some good synergy coming off of them. This is definitely not an impossible task for these 2 players.
I'm going to go back to the first round on Cafe. Of course, NiBBLE played it really slow, considering the attacking side. So on the second map on Oregon, both sides are pretty much switched. Of course, on the one side, playing a lot slower, but NiBBLE coming and past, playing super aggressive. Of course, Epsilon rushing straight onto the side from the balcony. Of course, was taken down, but of course, 3 kills led. Just after that, not too far. Of course, the Jaeger ran outside, played very aggressive, did his thing. And now on side, of course, like you said, it's still only 2 attackers still left alive. And from your still, of course, being Ash with a breach charges being used to open up some hatches. Hale's been heavily tagged, probably sitting around 5 HP currently. But really well played. I mean, like you said, these players are both very capable. They're really good playing off each other. If anything, they can get the trades. I mean, if they can just turn it down to a 1v3 or even a 2v3, it's a lot more winnable. And of course, his teammates have synergy. They have proved it before. They are capable of doing it. It's just the opportunities, the mistakes he made from the opposing side, and of course, playing off them.
Great gameplay that we're seeing here from NiBBLE. They know that both Gears and Hales are sitting on trophy side, but instead of pushing them, they're just sitting back and waiting for them to push. And down goes Hales as Gears is sitting on 20 health, just holding the door with Diffuser down right in front of door. This is a good gameplay as we see from NiBBLE, still not pushing, even though, Shalaka now Hales falls to Shala and leaves Gears alone with 20 health against 4 players. We do have 1 down though. Shots coming out once again from Gears with 14 seconds left. Defuse down and 4 players in his way. It's going to be a tough task. That being said, Gears falls to Nata. Absolutely incredible round once again from NiBBLE, showing us that they can also have incredible defensive rounds. Going for less of a roam heavy strat, more of a, just holding down those sites. And allowing Motion to push into their strategies rather than going out and looking to pick apart Motion's attacking strats.
And just like that, like you said, point out all the major factors that turned around this game. Making the game once a game, neck and neck, 4-4. Of course, if one side makes it to the final round, of course, wins it, that's this round over. But if they can pull it back, they can possibly take this map to the 3rd map, and then from there, with the winner takes all. But the 6 pick from the defending side from Hales from Jackal towards the Ash, and then from the defending side, some from Mozzie towards the Capcan. Rather interesting, of course, how aggressive these players are playing on the attacking side. The Capcan preventing that access as they do run in, do hit one of Capcan's entry denial systems. If they hit it, of course, that's a lot of HP gone. Give them a massive advantage when the next gunfight happens. If anything, hit 2 of them, the possibility of taking down the player. Really well, actually a good choice of operator, especially of the conditions at hand. Mr. Nate as well playing the Jaeger once again, preventing any access from the opposing team. We have been playing a lot of the utilities, that being flashbangs or even the charges, grenades. But really well played. I mean, these teammates are playing really well off each other. And of course, being now in Kitchen, I would love to see exactly how it plays out. We've only had Kitchen one more time previously before this. I think both teams are not really prepared for this start. Yes, a lot of teams are ready for the above and the basement. Exactly how this start will change it all comes down to the people holding it and the players playing against it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. I think the Capcan pick is extremely clever from NiBBLE's side. We've seen a lot of just aggressive pushes coming out from Motion here. So perhaps the Capcan traps can kind of catch them by surprise. So we got two trap characters. Like you said, playing in kitchen here, it's a hard place to defend, but it's also a hard place to attack. If they're able to kind of protect, I think the last time we saw kitchen being played, we saw motion really guarding the second floor with three roamers up there. It'll be interesting to see if NiBBLE go for a similar tactic, or if they do what they've been doing this entire time, just hold downside. But that is not what they're doing, as we see Nata kind of roaming all the way down in basement. As I say that, Fluff falls to Dr. Vortex. The thermite falling already early in the round without any of the walls being opened is a huge win for NiBBLE's side. They won't be able to now open up small tower wall, as I say so. Shalala, Years takes out Shalala, which is also another powerful pick for the attacking side here.
As you said before, the thermite being taken on so early on is a big blow. As we speak about that, Nada comes around the corner, wild peeks it, catches Smosh off guard, connects his shots, takes him down, leaving it into a 3v4 situation. Of course, the top floor is being opened up, have full side onto kitchen. Possibly try to find any players, try to roam, or even try to wild peek something. If they can't get a trade now, bring back the game even 3-2-3, Sophia from above, open up opportunities. The angle is actually pretty interesting. Can see right down into the room underneath, but a very tight angle towards sides. It's not really most common. It might have been a mistake, but it sees a play off guard. Can possibly do something with Vortex coming around the corner, getting himself a double kill against Gears, leaving it into a 2v4 situation in favor of the defenders. Yes, Capcom Shape's still there, Mars there. We got the bandit charges. Not really makes a big difference anymore because the thermite's down, but it's still a possibility there. Still prevents access, but still prevents anything. Maybe even a drone coming in. If a drone hits that bandit charge on the wall, obviously it will be destroyed, preventing any intel being provided by the attacking side.
Seen some great gameplay coming out from Nata here. As I say that, he falls, but absolutely great round by him. He really stayed upstairs the entire time, kept the attackers guessing. As I say that, Mahed falls, but is able to get up as he is Zofia, but now is on just a slither of health. Hale's pushing onto kitchen. Once again, NiBBLE really just allowing the attackers to come towards them, not really pushing aggressively, just allowing the attackers to kind of push in and try pick apart their gameplay. With that being said, we have one left remaining as the defenders, or as Novax picks up that final kill and ends the round for NiBBLE, pushing onto a 5v4. The first time they're taking the lead against Motion Esports, really just playing to their own strengths. Incredible gameplay, as we've seen by them. A lot of just diverse gameplay.
Like I said, it was very diverse. We had some very interesting picks from the first round from them. If you look back at it, we did have a wild card choosing different operators every time around. Even this time around, we have a Valkyrie being chosen. If I'm not mistaken, it's the first time we've seen a Valk, especially from the defending side. But if we go back, Digger 6-pick coming from the Volk, I thought it was a bit odd, especially for what the team was. We see the Bandit coming in once again just to prevent that entry and deny the attackers, like I said, those different positions. Yes, some sites only have certain amounts of soft walls that can be breached, but if you can prevent it from certain spots, especially the critical choke points, if I can call them that, from different areas, it'll win them again. Once again, we're going straight down to the bottom towards Freezer, but it all comes down to how this attic play will happen. Yes, we have some banner tricks taking place before, but it comes down, we've seen a Maverick once again take Arjuni's thing. Of course, this time around we have a Maverick and a Thermite combination, not so much a Sledge. So it pretty much makes, of course, the Jaeger's ADS system kind of a waste compared to previous rounds. Of course, now it's up to the Maverick to find the bandit charges, which he's more than capable of doing. Worst comes to worst, Thatcher is not too far behind in case one of them falls. It just comes down, can the Thermite be in the same spot? Will he be taken down first time around as well? Just depends how the defenders hold blue. If they do push from blue, obviously, which they will probably will do because it has worked. Yes, it's quite risky, but if they can streamline the players, work off one another, they can guarantee a win for the attacking side.
Yeah, I think super interesting to think that NiBBLE's now won, I believe, 3 rounds in a row, not losing a single defensive round against Motion Esports, which is the exact opposite to what we saw on our first map on Cafe. Motion going for a very similar push as they have been all game so far, taking over the tower before pushing down a white staircase there. We see once again Nata with a slight roam here, sitting at the top of the stairs, just off of the bomb site, able to easily push back down and help his team hold those sites. See the thermites coming out very quickly, opening up the walls onto site. That's a good push so far. We see there. We see a C4 coming out. Does that take anyone out? No, and Maverick loses just a slither of health there from that C4, unfortunately.
As you see now, Nata once again pushing towards stairs. I mean, barely misses the claymore. Obviously, I'm pretty sure he thought he didn't just rush in. If he can manage to get behind his place, he'll get 2 easy kills, winning a round for his team. But Vortex taking down Hales. That's a big blow to the attack inside. But Nata, right behind him, tries to get an extra shot, finds one, takes down Meghead, who is playing Sophia. Did see another one, did down him as well, which was the Thatcher. Now, this is a major blow to the attack inside. Now, honestly, in a 2v4 situation, have a play that's down. Fluff was not too far behind, taking down Charlo, getting the res on the sledge. Now, into a 3v3 situation. All players revive, of course, the health advantage in favor of the defenders. Echo still very much alive. Both Echo and Banner taking slight damage there from exactly what I'm not too sure, but Echo taking on his drone is taking down, trying to prevent the plant of his Echo drone. Gears to get a trade on Vortex, who took down Smart previously. Gears once again find himself a double kill against Epsilon. Now we're in a 2v1 situation. Bomb is getting defused. Or planted, sorry, the defusing is getting planted. And from the situation, Novax finds one. Can he find a second? Novax does indeed find a second, and he gets the defuse. Wins the ground for his team, playing a little bit of defending side. So has 35 seconds to spare to defuse and takes the round for his team.
So shots coming out by Novax. We've spoken about him all day today. Absolutely incredible gameplay. We saw a great rotate there by Nata coming around White Staircase, seeing the two attackers there. I think when he turned around that corner and saw two of them standing there, I don't think he knew which one he wanted to shoot at. He kind of took two shots at one, turns to the other, managed to kill one, down the other. When he tried to push again, obviously the attacking team knew he was on that staircase. They were obviously going to be pushing for that pre-fight, that exact spot he was in, and he fell to them. But great way to kind of throw the attacking side off on that point. But, pushing back onto that 3v3, there was a lot of work still to be done by both sides. But, I think we saw Novax with a 1v2 there. We already had the... I'm actually not sure who was playing in the back barrel area there, but lying down the floor, shots coming out from Novak, taking out both of them as the diffuser goes down, moves his team onto match point. So we could actually see us going onto the third map for this matchup between these two teams.
Like I said, a 1v2 toss is not an easy thing to accomplish. But of course, at these players' levels, it makes that situation even more difficult, to an extent, maybe even more better, maybe even slightly easier, because these players, of course, are experienced having a situation numerous times. But of course, not just the thought of being in that situation, of course, being in a tournament, trying to make it as far as they can, of course, just to be proud as well. I mean, of course, the way they're playing, the way they're working together is definitely something to be proud of, especially from the console side, representing that aspect, allowing us, a lot of players who normally won't be given the same opportunity to witness this, and showing the skill level on console that people normally don't get to see. I mean, I think it's really one major advantage, and I think it's really awesome what these guys are doing. But of course, defending back to dorms, quite interesting to see how this plays out. Try to get access to that little room. From there, move towards Sart. But exactly how it all comes down to the team. And right now, we see Sledge ready in, being Gears, being a very, very good player so far throughout the whole tournament, running it out. Players not too far. Of course, we get Gridlock trying to play from the main window, to, if anything, catch off a player flanking around, try to get the roamers out of the play, especially in the early situations.
Yeah, I think we see very similar gameplay or styles coming straight from the NiBBLE team here with one roamer. It seems like they realize that Nata is their roamer right now. We didn't see him roam, or I guess on the last match, we had a different player in his position, Fizzer. So having Nata now in their gaming lineup, they're able to kind of take different strategies. And unfortunately, Novak falls early to... I guess just falls early to the gridlock. A little bit unfortunate there, although I did think he was able to put down all of his, cap cans. But once again, NiBBLE's now all of a sudden playing extremely aggressive and playing into Motion's style of gameplay, now sitting with a 3v3 as Mahed falls to Dr. Vortex.
Like I said, we've been playing rather aggressive this round compared to what we see what they did before. Rather holding angles, let the enemy come to them. But Fluff was right behind a good spot, playing right behind the shield as well, being protected by his teammate, getting the diffuser down, all busy planting, of course, now it's still in the 3v situation. Nader getting heavily tagged, Legion being taken down, leaving a 3v1 situation. Can Nader pull back this game, getting 3 kills and still defusing? Hales just completely denies that idea, just reminds them they still get to play. The game isn't over just yet. We ain't ready to go to a third map. If we have to, we'll start playing properly. Even if anything, start playing a lot harder. Pretty well played with them. They changed up the strats. They adapted to the situation. Of course, played off, if I can even say, NiBBLE's slight error that game. I mean, that slight milliseconds worth of gameplay turned the tide of the game.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting to see perhaps when NiBBLE realized they were on match points, maybe they got a little bit excited there. They just wanted to end that round super quickly. They played extremely aggressive there. I think we saw 3 of them, or at least 2 of them, immediately push as soon as the attackers had pushed into Dorm. We saw 2 defenders push hard onto Dorm, and both of them fall very quickly to Motion Esports. A very different style of gameplay to what we saw in their previous rounds, where they were so dominant in their defense.
Like I said, the game's still far from over, going towards Storms once again. I mean, from here, I'm sure they learned what they did from previously was a mistake. Or, I mean, even if they didn't, I mean, let's change it up. Let's go back to what we did for the first couple of rounds that made us win, give us a lead. I mean, still match points. I mean, it's pretty interesting to see what happens. I mean, of course, from the attacking side, they have to make things happen. But really well played last time. If they repeat what they did, catch off the defending side once again, get Diffuser down, just play off Diffuser, prevent the attacking side, or the ones defending side, then attacking to get back to Diffuser, giving them that previous attackers the advantage of defending, turning the tide on them, using their deployable shield, their placements, their objectives against them will help them greatly.
So it seems like we see Epsilon going there for a quick spawn peek, but he doesn't actually even really aim really for anyone specific. He just kind of opened up the window there, took a few shots, probably to force that Sledge to be a little bit hesitant when pushing into Armory. We see Sledge not being hesitant at all, jumping in immediately, taking control of Armory. They're already pushing straight onto the balcony there to try and push onto Master Bedroom. Motion once again working extremely quickly, very efficiently, taking control of the sections that they want. We see the stuns coming out there by the Thermite to get rid of the Wamais.
Like I said, from Gears, being playing a Sledge, jumping into Armory once again. Second time back to back, ready for so his teammates playing off that other balcony, working way forward. I mean, from there they have a good crossfire, helping one another. Thermite charges go down, going to third flatcher as well to prevent bandit tricking taking place. Did take some shots, so that no players are too far behind, but the damage has been traded. All 5 people from both sides are still alive, holding down side, playing off, some flashbacks going in. Cameras and rotations, of course, drones being providing information. Pre-fire is happening. Swash taking some heavy damage as Thatcher, but of course good room control. Both teams playing really well. We do have Bandit not too far behind, prone just by the breach. I think Smosh will be able to drone him out just behind the couch. Drone will be taken down. Smosh will come past, play super aggressive. Does find the kill against Nato.
Good drone work there by Smash, both droning himself out and then picking up a bandit as he tries to kind of clear it out. He falls to Shala. Fluff still holding breach there, but Shala just peeking slightly, making sure Fluff doesn't push in for that plant. Motion kind of just sitting, waiting for a second, trying to gather themselves as he pushes in. Fluff pushes in, going to the same spot that he planted beforehand. Plant's now going down. I'm sure the defenders can hear it. The many shots coming out, trying to stop that diffuser from going down, but the diffuser goes down, and Novak takes out Gears, bringing it to a 3v2. For the attackers. The attackers all kind of just sitting back now, watching and listening for Diffuser as Novax gets downed. Dr. Vortex is left in a 1v3. Needs to kind of reload his weapon here before having to push. Diffuser's got 20 seconds left. The Ash sees him, peeks around. He goes for the res back on his teammate, but the Ash pushes around and takes out Novax. Once again, Hales coming out with the shots for his team.
I mean, I think just gave credit to the whole team as well from both sides. I mean, the time was ticking down, forcing the attacking side to make a plan. But as soon as the first frag went down, the entry frag, things moved fast and things moved quickly, and they gave of course, the Thermite access towards the room, and if Thatcher not too far behind to provide cover, let them both pull out, and then from there, get the diffuser down, hold the same spot they knew that worked before. So now 6-6 going towards overtime. Rather interesting, seeing it will play the more or less the same. Exactly how it'll play out, I can't say just yet, but I can't wait to see what these teams have. Putting that extra pressure on, of course, if one team wins it, they go in, take the entire game, and therefore win, move on through the brackets. But of course, NiBBLE's not out just yet. Very keen. They can still bring this back. I mean, they already did take the lead in the initial beginning. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was 3 rounds that they had winning back to back. And then
Yeah.
from there, from one mistake, maybe just being a little bit overconfident, turned the tide. Of course, I always do believe this game, not even just gaming in general, the esports scene is more emotional and mental than people actually realize. I think it's definitely how you feel exactly if you do get slightly irritated. It definitely affects not just your play, your team, and then of course even your, I don't know, let's go down to your final details like your aim and positioning. You start making stuff mistakes because you're overthinking things. But at this stage, it's not over just yet. Both sides are playing really well. Going back to basement, which has proved really, really well for both sides. Attic once again being drained out, but the Thermite is still keeping his drone very much alive. We see all three of the Jaeger, Bandit, and of course Wilmar playing close towards it. Very interesting exactly how this will play out. We'll see.
Yeah, I think extremely. I think it was a big pressure point from NiBBLE there when they were sitting on match points for their first map victory against Motion Esports, finally taking it to map 3. So I think that pressure kind of played a large role into their small mistakes that they've been making in the past 2 rounds, allowing Motion to bring it back to an overtime. So we're going to see some more gameplay from both these teams here. NiBBLE going back to the basics, pushing back down straight onto basement, bringing up their original lineup. No more changes. We see Nata isn't roaming as far as he was in rounds before. Instead, it looks like they have decided to bring everyone downstairs and to hold sites. Although Nata did rotate, I did see him at the back there, but it seems like he's rotated back up. It seems like he's actually trying to go for this flank once again. So I guess there goes my analysis on that.
I think Nata, like you said, definitely been a wild card for the NiBBLE side. Of course, definitely helping out his team, at least can provide communications, but a beautiful nade by Gears taking down Vortex on start, push on rather aggressively from Freezer. And then as you can see, Echo once again with the drone in hand, he's taking down to just over 50 HP, his team is not too far behind, just wasting all the defenders' abilities and utilities on that wall from, of course, the outside, kind of faking them out. Now we've seen a 5v3. Gears once again finds him second player against Novax, who previously won the 1v2, but Gears is taking down Bashala, who played really, really well, played really slow, letting teammates go past, getting information, trying to get as many people as he can in a 4v2 situation. Of course, the diffuser is not planted just yet. It's still very much possible to hold start. Both players are very good. Charlotte's taken down by Hales. Now Nada, who was previously roaming, who still is roaming, is in a 1v4 situation. Quite a difficult situation. Diffuser is going down, and we will see how this plays out. I mean, we've seen NiBBLE have clutched the situation before, but Smash being pro, not too far behind, has caught Nato off guard coming downstairs towards Bateman. Really, really well played. Of course, I mean, tunnel visioning, have all these different spots to look at. It makes it very difficult for the player, especially in a 1v4 situation, to come back, bring it back. But this is pretty much do or die for the team.
I thought it was extremely interesting. We've seen every single round so far. Motion have always just been pushing from, I guess, bunker side, pushing blue bunker, trying to open up onto supply room or open up electric room. So we've seen that almost every single time, except this time. Instead, now they were like, you know what? let's mix it up on NiBBLE. From this push, let's push Freezer, try open up Laundry Room on 4A. They took full control of Laundry Room. At one point, attackers had 2 players in Laundry Room, one in Basement Corridor. They had full control of that side of the site. They had, site control on Bomb A. They cleared all the roamers out. They were able to push through. The Jaeger pushing through into Laundry was able to pick out one, but then immediately got refragged. So, great push there by Motion Esports, kind of throwing a curveball at NiBBLE's defense.
Going back to this curveball, I think it was definitely interesting to see how the previous rounds played out. If this whole thing was planned to keep going at it until it doesn't work, and then from there, just the very, very last moment to switch it up, because I knew they'll go back to where it worked previously. I mean, if it was one of the strats, it was very risky, of course. I mean, they could have lost it. Graham would have obviously ruined the other strats they had in place. But I mean, overtime match point and going back to the top floor. I mean, both sides have really played well throughout this entire game. We've had some players over double digits. Of course, like I said, it's not even the final details of the stats, but I mean, it's how they play together, and both sides played really well. I mean, last game was pretty close, even if it was a 4v5. Coming to this game as well, 7-6, going into overtime, only time will tell, and exactly what's happening. I can't wait to dive into. Very exciting dorms once again being played. Avoiding Kitchen, quite an interesting choice. Only seen Kitchen played about 2 times. Of course, it's been win or lose for both sides holding or attacking it. But I can't wait exactly. Blackbeard coming through blue right at the bottom instead of going through one of the top windows. Maybe peeking main window if his shields would be quite beneficial. But I mean, Smosh not too far behind. Watching the flanks, getting information for his team. Of course, attackers pushing towards Addict's side.
So yeah, we see NiBBLE kind of going at a very similar attack that we've seen Motion kind of take every gameplay. Hales once again sitting in that the same area, in that attic area. So the last game they didn't actually realize that he was sitting in there, and he was able to obviously pick a lot of those attackers out. So we'll see if we see something very similar in this time. I'm sure NiBBLE are going to be extremely wary of that. The exact same setup here, grenade going out to get rid of those bandits. Bandits are gone. Epston's now going to go in and open that up. Seems like they're all backing away from that right now. The last time they were all kind of just standing out in front of it, which allowed Hales just to pick them all off. It was an absolutely awesome round there by Hales. So now they've got almost full control of Attic, but they got to get rid of Hales, who has a shield sitting at the back there with him. I also believe he has, I don't actually see any Jaegers there, but Nate is just going to push up with the Monty onto Hales, push Hales back. He's obviously feeding information straight to Vortex. Vortex not peeking at all. Hale's not really sure what to do in this situation. Monty just kind of pushing and holding him at that point. Monty drops down. Now Hales has to try and watch here, but Maverick pushes up and takes Hales out. So now they have full control of Attic, which is probably exactly what their plan was, to try push onto Bomb B. Monty kind of pushing now into Bomb B just to get a little bit of a viewpoint. We see the Legions coming out to try and stop Monty from being able to just push through that rotate. We have Smosh on the other side of that wall, just waiting for them to kind of push through that door.
I mean, both Monty and Maverick super low themselves, getting traded, but I mean, Hales bought time, bought information. Would it be more beneficial to rather pull back and let them have access to the room? I mean, of course, Dark Vortex comes down, take down Mech Head, Giz takes down Epsilonson, and then, of course, now in the 3v3 situation, shots being traded. Of course, Monty being pushing in. 2 of the attackers are down, and of course, in a 1v3 situation, and Giz takes down the final play, who was Novax, who has clutched before and takes the game. Really well played. Both teams have played really well. Of course, the Blackbeard from the outside, throwing flashbangs in, blinding the defending side. Currently a hard-fought victory, 8-6. One of the closest games you've had all day.
Yeah. Absolutely great gameplay there by both teams. Super close matchup. It was a really great game to watch. NiBBLE really coming out with very different tactics to their matchup before. But Motion winning both map 1 and map 2 now. So they'll go over into the semifinals against Repress Esports.
And of course, the winner of that makes it into the finals. And then honestly, that is pretty amazing. Both sides played really well. I mean, like I said, it was a very close game, especially the first round being, of course, a 4v5 at one stage when a player dropped out, unfortunately. No host was called, but both sides played really well. I don't think any side will be disappointed of how they played. I think it was really amazing to see what happened. Last game, it was honestly a surprise. I mean, one team got a lead by 3 rounds. We probably thought this is the third map. You can't do much more. But the other team, of course, being Motion, said, listen, we aren't done just yet. They pulled it back. They took everything that they learned. They took their mistakes as well, reworked around them, and of course, won the game. And
Yeah, we
from
saw
there, we'll
some
see what they do
great.
against Repress. Pretty amazing. Sorry, could you
Mhm.
take the floor?
No, 100%, dude. I was actually going to ask you. We saw some great shots come out from many players. Who would you say, or at least for you, is the player of the day? Who did you see really just shine through?
Honestly, I think besides the whole synergy working back to back between the two players, Gears get himself honestly over 20 kills, found himself exactly 21 kills by himself. Of course, playing off what his teammate has put him in a spot to do, playing honestly really well with Hales throughout the both games. I mean, playing that one game alone, getting over 21 kills, cool 15 rounds, but I mean that's really high numbers, really cool KD. I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
honestly, I think in my personal opinion, Gears definitely really did take the MVP in my eyes. Of course, the synergy between the two sides, both sides had their own little dynamic duo team. But I think, in my personal opinion, Gears is one of the most looked out player. Obviously, he has the stats behind him. Did prove a point today that he is one of the best, and he will continue to be one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, Gears came in today with he had a 1.44 KD, a lot higher than anyone else in this entire matchup. So we definitely expected him to kind of, frag out a little bit. But that synergy between him and Hales was incredible to watch. The support play coming from Hales there. We saw some great gameplay from Hales sitting in the attic there. That was an awesome round. Him getting a 3K there, just chilling in attic. Just overall good gameplay by both Motion and NiBBLE today. Huge congrats to both teams. I think huge congrats to obviously Motion moving forward to the next stages now. We really appreciate everyone that tuned in to watch such a great matchup.
And honestly, as well, honestly, for all the viewers coming past, it means the world, providing opportunity for this. Of course, the organization behind it, Meraki, giving an opportunity to keep moving forward, keep making awesome tournaments like this, keep giving the players themselves a little spot for themselves to actually make a name, show people what they're capable of, not all this training go to waste, and have a professional scene behind them. Promoting the esports scene within South Africa is one of the most important things in our eyes, as not even just South Africans, as players, as content creators, and of course, org owners. And working together, collabing with one another, making his dream come true has honestly really been an honor to be part of. And once again, from the Meraki side, personally from my side, and my co-caster Kudu, of course, being part of ADG, we thank you guys so much for giving us opportunity to be here. And of course, being casting the console side, and of course, eventually the PC sides. And can't wait to see what the finals has in sort of us. Repress versus Motion Esports will definitely be one to look out for. And I can't wait to see what happens.
Perfect. We'll see you guys then. Cheers.
sun. But we were flames and fell in